And welcome back to the Movie Hero Network. And Recast is back, everybody. This is Recast number 14, and we are tackling the 1972 classic, The Godfather, tonight. It's going to be a monumental task, and we are going to do our best to tackle it. But yes, Recast is back. I know it's been a while. We just took a little quick hiatus. We hit a bunch of episodes in a row, and but we're getting back into the swing of things. And I am here with a great panel of people, a great panel of Godfather fans going to help me tackle this task this evening. So let me go around and introduce everybody. Richie Goodacre, how's it going, Richie?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Yeah, this is a mammoth task for what is a perfectly cast film, but yeah, I mean that's the nature of this show. But yeah, this will be fun. This is yeah, I I'm confident with my picks, but like yeah, this I don't know. This show is very surprising, and interesting. Like man, oh yeah, I never thought about that person. Yeah, yeah, and like I know it's my favorite show on this channel. So this is I'm glad to be here.
Oh, awesome, man. Good to have you. Malcolm Lay. It's his number one movie. He's just a slight fan of The Godfather. How's it going, Malcolm?
It's going good, and I'm fairly confident with a couple of them. There's one that I'm not confident just because someone stole the pick I was going to go for, but but it's a lot of fun.
Well, this is one where I didn't have to strong arm anybody for their picks. Everybody got them in pretty damn quick. So I was going for a while. Everybody thinking about it. But Jonathan Caro, welcome to Recast. How's it going, buddy? Ready to talk some Godfather?
Yeah, this is also my favorite movie of all time. And yeah, this was a difficult one to recast, but a fun one to recast. So I'm going to just bear with me while I'm trying to go through these real quickly because I am melting.
Yes. Jonathan's he's hot and his air conditioner is broken. He's not fixed till tomorrow. So hang in there, Jonathan. We appreciate you hanging out on there, guys. But yeah, Jordan Anderson tuning in. He's not as much of a Godfather fan, but hopefully he enjoys our episode of Recast. Having a little fun tonight. So thanks for everybody for tuning in. And if you are tuning in tonight, yeah, stick around because we could use you as tiebreakers because how it's actually going to work is essentially what you're doing here is everybody's going to present. We're going to go kind of up and down the cast list and the characters, and we went big tonight with this one because it's a big ensemble, a lot of memorable characters. Usually we do like 6 to 10 characters, and I consulted the panel. It's like, hey, we can throw in another 2 or a couple because there's so many memorable characters that are essential kind of to the core of the movie. So we're doing 12 big characters tonight and 12 big cast members, so we're going a little extra. But how it's going to work is you guys are essentially, we're going to go around the horn. We'll start kind of the bottom of the cast list, sort of the least amount of screen time or importance to the plot to kind of the most important, to the plot, things like that. Kind of work our way up to the big roles, and everybody will get a chance to pitch essentially their recasted person. So we'll introduce the character. I have little clips for everybody and things like that, and just go around the horn. Just give us a minute or so, just kind of a quick minute pitch as to why your person would be good for this one, and essentially you're pitching it to the rest of the panel. So what you're going to do is we're going to be ranking each other's picks. Now, we would all pick our own things, so that cancels each other out. So for anybody thinking about that, obviously we would pick our own stuff, so that negates it all. So what you're going to do is you're going to be ranking the rest of the panelist picks from 3 to 1, so kind of 3 to kind of the least interesting to you to 1 to the most interesting to you, and I'll be giving points for those rankings. So a first place ranking gets 3 points, a second place gets 2 points, and a third place gets 1 point, and I'll be tabulating those, and essentially the person's pick that has the most vote points will win that recast for that character, and we'll see what kind of crazy cast we come up with at the end of the movie as kind of our big ensemble. So that's how it works. Any questions, comments, concerns? It's pretty straightforward. So yeah, when we come to you, just give us your quick minute pitch as to why that person would be great. So if you guys are ready, we will get this thing going because it's going to be, again, a monumental task and a lot of fun. But what we're going to start with is, some people that are important to the movie, but maybe to a lesser degree, as far as screen time, things like that. So let's start with a member of the family and kind of the lesser of the two enforcer characters. So let's start with Tessio. We're going to start with Tessio, played originally by Abe Vigoda. And I've got a quick little intro for everybody here. And pardon some of these clips that I'm going to play tonight. Some of them were like, I had to find like YouTube short clips, those kind of TikTok-y kind of clips, because that's the only thing I could find as far as it was already pre-edited to like for something 30 or 40 seconds. Because all these are under a minute or so. So just bear with me. A few of these are straight up, but a few of those I'll let you know when we get to them. But here's a quick reminder of Abe Vigoda as Tessio. Let's take a look.
Sal, Tom, the boss says we'll come in a separate car. He says for you two to go on ahead.
Hell, he can't do that. It screws up all my arrangements.
Well, that's what he said.
I can't go either, Sal.
Tell Mike it was only business. I always liked him.
He understands that.
Excuse me, Sal. Huh?
Tom, can you get me off the hook? For old time's sake.
Can't do it, Sally.
Oh, poor Tessio. He's off to take a long ride to a short place. But yeah, Tessio, played by Abe Vigoda originally. And what we're going to do is we'll go just kind of clockwise. I'll elect to go last on this first one. So I will start with the person to my right. So Richie, let's talk a little Tessio. And who is your pick for Tessio?
Yeah, for Tessio, you wanted someone to, someone who can can portray that sort of trustworthy guy that exudes like power and respect and that presence, but also has that sort of menacing but has that menacing demeanor. And I think like exemplifies that is Giancarlo Esposito. So he's one of my Tessio. I think like if you see him in if you see him in like Breaking Bad as Gus Fring, I think that is I think that's a good sign. But yeah. Anyway, I'll just say John Carlos Esposito.
All right, I got you. Oh boy, he's gonna have a problem just like Malcolm. Sorry, Richie has dog issues he's got to deal with. But yeah, Giancarlo Esposito for Richie. So Malcolm, we'll go to you for your pick.
So my dog's looking at me like, "Where's the barking coming from?"
Yeah, right. It's not coming from inside the house. Yeah.
But no, for my Tessio, I went Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, I think he's someone that I think can portray the trustworthiness and that, and I think he also has shown that he can be that menacing type figure as well. And yeah, I don't really have a lot of arguments with a lot of my people, but yeah, so yeah.
All right. Well, Richie, just letting you know if you're back, Malcolm chose Daniel Day-Lewis. So for the little role of Tessio. All right, so make sure you got that down. But yeah, we'll go over to Mr. Caro.
All right. So for my cast, I'm envisioning a mid to late 2000s type of Godfather tapestry. So I went with a guy who is very underrated as an actor and also has that calm yet menacing demeanor. And I went with Armand Assante. Yes, Armand Assante, this underrated character actor who could portray like a jovial personality that you see from other movies. He's like charismatic to a quietly menacing person under somebody's wing. Yes. And I think that once he, schemes the whole thing behind the scenes, he's a terrifying character behind the scenes, and you don't know what he's going to go through until, someone puts a checkmate on this Tessio character. So that's what I went with. I went with Armand Assante because of his underrated stature and his underrated status as a great actor.
Yeah. And as far as mine goes, I think you need kind of a character actor in this role. And that's what I went with. Yeah, somebody who seems kind of unassuming on the outside, kind of like Abe Vigoda does, but knows his way around the block and knows how to get things done and can turn on the intensity we need to. I went with Steve Buscemi. I think Steve Buscemi for this part, could play that kind of unassuming part and kind of a lovable guy, but who knows how to scheme and kind of get those plots together We saw stuff like that on Boardwalk Empire, that he can turn that up. He can be menacing while being, kind of unassuming in like Con Air, playing Garland Green. So he can have things behind his eyes and have plots going on, and could turn heel essentially at any time, but also be sympathetic. In that last scene we see Tessio and can you get me off one last time? Buscemi can turn that on as well. So I went with Buscemi for that part. I think he could fit in nicely in an ensemble. So all right, just recapping the picks for everybody, and then we'll go around the horn. So Richie picked Giancarlo Esposito. Malcolm went with Daniel Day-Lewis. Jonathan Caro's pick of Armand Assante, and my pick of Steve Buscemi for Tessio. So there we go. So Richie, you want to throw some rankings out there, and I'll tally the votes here.
Yeah, for number 3, I've got Daniel Day-Lewis. I just think he's too much of a leading guy. I can't see him playing this small role. I just think it would almost be, distracting. I'm just like, man, he's too big of an actor. I think a character actor does need to sort of fit here more. Number 2, I've got Asante. That's just because I'm not as familiar with him. When you showed the picture there, I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen him in a few things, but I'm just not as familiar with him. Steve Buscemi, I think he could work really work in this role, and I could definitely see him being that. You see him in I've seen him in a few films where he's that calm presence, but you also don't want to get on the but he's that conniving, that deep down he's that conniving. He can be a conniving backstabber, and you don't want to mess with him. And in something me and Pestis watch, like Reservoir Dogs, he's that kind of snake in the grass. So I'll go a bit Austin Hills for Buscemi.
Sure. Malcolm.
Just because I'm not too familiar from at 3, I'll put Amanda Sante. At 2, I put Giancarlo Esposito, and number 1, I put Steve Buscemi.
Okay, Jonathan.
Yeah, number 3, I have Daniel Day-Lewis. I think he's just too big of an actor to portray this character behind the scenes. I mean, if you see him portray Tessio, I think you kind of will predict, he's up to no good like right away. And you need that actor. You need an actor who's like trying to fool you a little bit. So that's why I put Daniel Day-Lewis number 3. Number 2, Giancarlo Esposito. A good pick, but I only see the menacing side, not the sympathetic side of Tessio. And I don't see the jovial personality when he's, joking around with Clemenza and Michael when they're like planning. So I went with Esposito, whereas Buscemi, I see both sides. So I see the jovial and calm, menacing personalities. So that's my pick. That's my ranking. Daniel Day-Lewis, Esposito, Buscemi.
All right. I'm also going to go Dan Day-Lewis, not because he's not a great actor. Obviously he is, but you want him at like the top of your cast. You want him like as one of your leads. I think it would be kind of a waste to put him in here just for a couple of scenes. As far as that goes, I'll go Armand Assante just because I mostly know him from like the 90s. Oddly enough, probably think I know him most from his Judge Dredd. I haven't seen anything outside of that. Yeah, I know the name more than I know like a lot of the roles. I'm sure I've seen him in more stuff, but I didn't think in his filmography. And Esposito I do like, but I think he can portray both those things because if you look at the way he plays like the manager of the chicken joint and like Breaking Bad, just being like, oh gentlemen, thanks for coming in. Can I get your refill? That sort of thing, but also then turning on the Gus stuff, like even just with his facials. I think it works. So I'd go with that. So let me tally the votes here. We got 3 points for Daniel Day-Lewis. We've got 5 for Armand Assante. We've got 7 for Esposito and a clean sweep, 9 points for Buscemi. So I guess that's a good pick.
That's a great pick.
Yeah. No, I thought it'd be kind of perfect for that. So there we go. Even Jordan's at least watching. He likes Buscemi and the Giancarlo Esposito. So there you go. Good stuff there. All right, so let's scoot our way up the cast list just a tad more, and let's talk about Apollonia, who's very important to the actual plot as far as the development of Michael. But again, doesn't have a lot to do as far as dialogue and super big character development. But again, it's very important to Michael's story, played by Simonetta Stefanelli. Raffanelli. I believe she's an Italian actress. So there you go. So she doesn't have a lot of dialogue. So I just have kind of a quick interaction. She really only has like one line where one scene where she's kind of throwing out dialogue. So there's not a lot to throw out there. But this is a very quick one. We'll just throw it out there.
Chi se non bacia? A me chiama chiaro inglese.
Ma io lo so l'inglese. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Saturday. Dai, andiamo.
And she's kind of just honking the horn, and and unfortunately it's a rough scene where that goes. But she doesn't have a lot to do. She's more just kind of the face that the lightning that they talk about that Michael falls in love with there. But let's do a quick Apollonia here, and we'll scoot over to Malcolm. So Malcolm, throw your pick out there.
Yeah, this is one that I kind of struggled with a little bit. I think I've probably gone too big for this one as well, but maybe not so big. But I went Florence Pugh for this one. Like it was just one of those ones, like partially because like I know she's really good doing like accent stuff with her role as Yelena and Black Widow and that, and it was one of those ones I was looking at a couple of pictures like, she kind of does look a little bit similar to it, but I'm not too convinced about my own pick from this one. So yeah,
it's all right. Throw it out there and see what happens. Jonathan, what you got?
Okay, once again, my vision is mid to late 2000s, and you'll see in a moment. So Apollonia is actually a very young character. She's like in her late teens in the novel and also in the movie. So I went with a younger performer actually. So I wanted to be respectful. So I went with Alexandra Daddario. Yes, I went with Alexandra Daddario because it's the eyes. Yeah, it's the eyes. You want an actress who strikes a chord with both Michael and the audience. Like, the thunderbolt, the lightning bolt, and once you see Michael seeing Apollonia, I mean, you see that innocence, ascending there, and you see that happiness and love ascend while he's in Italy with Apollonia. And once her unfortunate demise happens, I mean, the happiness withers away quickly, and also yours too, because he's very somber throughout the rest of the movie. So that's why I went with Alexandra Daddario, because of her heritage, and she was younger at that time in my vision. So, I think she's a very good actress.
2000s Alexandra Daddario there. I did try to get you specified 2000s, so I did try to get picture appropriate stuff, Jonathan. When anybody throws that out there for me. And as far as mine, I'm going with somebody who's kind of picked up steam in the last couple of years, but was kind of a side actor, sort of unknown for a little while, especially in the 2010s. And she's got that European vibe to her, and I think she's got a heritage as such. I went with Ana de Armas. I think Ana de Armas, she's playing the upcoming ballerina in the new sort of John Wick movie. She's done the Pam and Tommy thing. She played, Marilyn Monroe. She showed her range as far as that goes. But obviously with the ballerina, I think she can play kind of that European style. She could do the quiet nature. She's got that striking beauty, as she showed quickly in, No Time to Die. It's not like an action role or anything like that. I just mean like she can do the quieter roles as well. So, I'll throw it out there for Ana de Armas. Richie, round us out.
Yeah, I want to talk on newish actress as well, someone who's gotten the scene quite a lot lately, and who can bring sort of authenticity to the role as well. I went with Maria Bakalova from Bodies, Borat 2, The Apprentice. I think I just think she's not only I think she could fit the part. She's also got that I feel like Apollonia has that sort of the scenes are brief. She also has that sort of that kind of that mischievous sort of spark that when she's sort of flirting. I think I think Marie Bakalova has that sort of timing down and could play off Mike pretty well. I just think it's, and she's not she's one of those people who are well known but not who are getting to be well known but not so well known it's going to might distract you, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I just think I think it'd be I think she's just one of those actresses who's like who sort of is looking to break out more. I think I think she's really good, and I think this would be a good role for her, even if albeit brief. So yeah, Maria Bakalova.
Maria Bakalova. Okay. Yeah, so just rounding out the picks once again, before we give our rankings, Malcolm goes with Florence Pugh. Mr. Caro went with Alexandra Daddario, kind of circa the 2000s, sort of like her True Detective debut, I guess, something like that. Something around that time, right? Infamously. And then I went with Ana de Armas, and Richie goes with Maria Bakalova. So there we go. But we start with the person who started the round. So Malcolm, what would you rank these?
For 3, I went Alexander Daddario. For 2, I went Maria Bakalova, and then 1, I went Ana de Armas.
Okay, Jonathan.
Well, for number 3, I went with Florence Pugh. I don't see it. I don't see her as a Apollonia. She's more like I see Florence Pugh as a character, not Apollonia. I don't see her like catching Michael's eye. Oh boy, 2 and 1. This was tough. I went Ana de Armas number 2. Yeah, I see that a little bit. Yeah, I see that. She comes from a foreign country, and she catches your eye, especially with the eyes, lightning bolt. Mm-hmm. But Bakalova edges it for me because Bakalova, you see that presence, like she comes out of nowhere and you don't recognize her immediately. I think she could be a chameleon in a foreign country, especially in Italy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, even though Bakalova herself is not from Italy, but yeah, I could see that pretty well. So.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Third, I might go Florence Pugh here. I could see it to a degree, but not as much as kind of just the other 2 picks. I like all the picks for the most part. Just it's more of a preference. I'll then go to Dario for number 2, because yeah, she does have a striking beauty, and it would just be more of a physical role, and I can see her doing that. But yeah, the Maria Bakalova pick is kind of a sneaky good pick, Richie. I applaud you for that one. Yeah, I didn't think about her, but yeah, the Borat 2, yeah, she kind of sneaks up in that movie and sort of wins your heart by the end of it. So, and then kind of comes out of nowhere. And yeah, I wouldn't mind having kind of a she's not like completely unknown, but I still think she's kind of breaking out right now. So yeah, I think that really works. So yeah, I'll go with Maria there. But Richie?
Yeah, so number 3, I have Alexander Dario. I just don't know. I'm not. I get the reason behind the pick, and I for the record, I think all these picks are decent, but I don't know whether she could pull it off as well as the other 2. Florence Pugh, I think could work, but yeah, I just think I just think Ana de Armas is actually an inspired pick. I think I think she would do really well, and I think she ticks all the boxes that this role requires. So I'll go Ana de Armas.
Okay, so adding up the scores, we have a tie with 4 points for Daddario and Pugh, but we also have a tie for Ana de Armas and Maria Bakalova. But I believe Jordan already put his ranking, so I'll use that as a tiebreaker, and he went with Maria Bakalova and said that was an inspired pick, Richie. So nicely done. Yeah, no,
I really like that pick.
Yeah, it's a good pick. No, I'll totally give that one to you, Richie. That was a great little pick that I didn't even think about. So nicely done. You got one, Richie. Yeah, so far. I know Richie gets frustrated sometimes because he'll have these picks that only sneaks out 1 or 2. But nicely done. You got one early. So there you go, Richie. There you go. That's a sneaky good pick. I like it. All right. So this should be an interesting one.
I go first for this one.
Yeah, let's go up and see. We're going to talk about, and I pulled just a fun picture for Luca Brasi. Oh boy.
Come on.
Luca's not having a good day there.
No, he's not.
With some piano wire. But Luca Brasi, of course, Vito's kind of personal enforcer, played by Lenny Montana, the professional wrestler, doing his thing. So let's get a quick look back at Luca Brasi talking to the Godfather.
He's not on the list, but Luca Brasi wants to see you.
Is this necessary?
He didn't expect to be invited to the wedding, so he wanted to thank you.
Oh.
Don Corleone, I am honored and grateful that you have invited me to your daughter's wedding. On the day of your daughter's wedding. And I hope that their first child be a masculine child. I pledge my ever-ending loyalty for your daughter's bridal purse.
Thank you, Luca. My most valued friend.
Don Corleone, I'm going to leave you now because I know you are busy.
Oh, Luca. And yeah, for anybody who doesn't know the behind the scenes, Lenny Montoya actually was having a hard time learning his lines and was legit nervous to do a scene with Marlon Brando, as one would be. So that's why they reshot that scene earlier where Michael sees him kind of practicing his own, his own little lines in front of him, so that it actually works in the scene that he's like nervous and forgetting his lines and things like that. So it works at the character. So brilliant stuff there from Francis Ford Coppola. Very, very nice. Yeah, go ahead, Richie. What's that?
Oh, no, it's all good. Yeah, no, I'm all right. Yeah, I wasn't saying anything. I'm all good.
Okay. No, yeah, so just a little fun behind the scenes about that character. So, yeah, let's talk a little Luca Brasi here and see what you guys came up with. We got an eclectic thing picks here. But Jonathan, you're up first this time.
Oh, man. Okay, so this was one of the few harder ones to decide because at first I went with like an actor with that massive presence. But I went another route, and I picked a wrestler, and I picked an Italian wrestler / actor. And you want someone that is out of the blue. Is like, oh, is that who I think it is? And you want that. I picked Lou Ferrigno. Yes, I picked Lou Ferrigno. Here's why. Because I could see him practicing the lines in front of like some talented actors. You could see that nervous vibes. You could see or he could play that nervous gesture. You could see that. And also you could see a little charm from his nervous, practicing his nervousness, practicing lines, to get ready for the scene. And then once he does it, he does it fairly well. And then, but also later in the movie, you want to see an intimidating presence still with that massive, you want to see an intimidating presence with that massive personality. He's big, he's menacing, and then he may kill somebody later, but unfortunately he does not. So you want a big person, but also out of the blue type of personality. So I went Lou Ferrigno, wild card. This was the one I was nervous about. So
okay, we'll see what happens. I thought about it. We'll talk about it. So yeah, I mean, I kind of snagged him maybe before anybody else could, but I went with a wrestler actor who has the size, who has who has acting chops. I went a little upgraded with my acting chops on this one, but I think who could play somebody who's nervous and who's kind of bad at his lines. So I went with Dave Bautista. I mean, I think Bautista, because if you look at the stuff as Drax, when he's also like taking things so literally, he's almost like playing kind of a bad actor as Drax, somebody who's trying to be badass, but kind of failing sometimes in his line deliveries and whatnot, but who could turn on the quiet intensity. We saw him as like Mr. Hanks in Spectre, the henchman. He's played these henchmen before. He can play that kind of guy who could be quiet but also kind of a big presence when he needs to be. So I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, Dave Bautista. So there you go. Richie, going to you.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough sell for at least one person on the panel because but yeah, so yeah,
the non-wrestling fans of the panel.
A wrestler who's currently on the main roster, but whose I think gimmick and presence fits the role. I went with Karrion Kross. I think Karrion Kross.
Who?
I know exactly who, Caro.
Karrion Kross. He just has the sort of the intimidating look. He's just this sort of quiet menace about him. He's even got like the sort of gimmick at the moment that sort of would fit that, like that sort of the devil on your shoulder type deal. And yeah, I think he could. And I think he could play. I think he's very. I think as we're learning now, I think he's about to come into his own. I think people are realizing how talented Karrion Kross is, and I think he is quite versatile. I could see him playing that sort of, intimidating guy, but also very a guy who's very nervous and unsure about himself. So yeah, look, it's a tough mountain to climb, but Carrying Cross.
Carrying Cross. Okay. I think even at least Malcolm and I know who he is, but yeah, Caro might be a tougher sell there. But Malcolm, who'd you feel with?
Look, Rich, if your pick's going to be a tough sell for Caro, so is mine, because I also read the professional wrestling route, and I read Gunther. Look, he's one of those ones like I feel because I feel like he's got a very intimidating presence as well, and like it just when he talks, like he does talk that quite intensity, just in his promos, and so I think he's one of those ones that I can work, and yeah, so yeah, and plus I like just seeing he kind of does look a little bit like him, but not so too much. So, but yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's recap the picture real quick. Jonathan goes with Lou Ferrigno, kind of circa the 2000s, a little older. Dave Bautista for me. Carrying Cross for Richie. And Gunther, WWE star Gunther for Malcolm. So good luck, Jonathan. what you going with, buddy?
Oh, okay. I know who that is. Okay, Gunther. Okay.
Okay.
Not good because I'm going first ranking this. Okay. Okay. You know what? Okay, let's try that. Okay. Number 3. Okay, so Cross. Number 3 is Cross. I think he's just too young. He's way too young. Compared to Luca Brasi, Luca Brasi looks like older, like 50s. And Cross is in his 30s, and I don't think it'll work. I think he would just wipe out Solozzo like immediately. I think it would be way too easy. And I don't think that he would, be fooled that easily. I don't see that. 2, Gunther, because I just put him at number 2. I won 1 Bautista because this is basically unfamiliarity. Bautista, you make a good point. I could see him struggling with lines a little bit, although, I wish that there was another actor that could be out of the blue. I was going to put Bautista number 3, but I have to be fair because I had no idea who Krause is, and 2, I knew who Gunther is, but I don't know if he would fit into the Godfather world, and by default, I had to go Bautista number 1. So... yeah, take that what you will. Right there.
Sure. Yeah, my third. Sorry, Richie. I know who Carrying Cross is, but I think that's completely wrong for somebody like Luca Brasi. Yeah, he's not like some seasoned old time been with Vito for 20, 30 years enforcer. I just don't see that. I don't see him being like a mob enforcer. He looks like a biker. Like it just doesn't work. So yeah, I just don't see it. Gunther, I think is kind of an expired pit. Malcolm, I'll go with it for number 2 because I think that he actually at least has more of the look, and he's got that like European thing going on, and I could see him actually delivering. I would like to see Gunther in a movie or a TV show and see how he does. We just haven't really seen him act outside of his promos, so I just don't know if he, could do it. But I think when you actually sent me, Caro, Lou Ferrigno, I was like, that's kind of sneaky inspired. I kind of like it because he's not like a great actor, but when you see him in the cameos that he does, like in the 2000s, he's just like, thank you, my brother. And you can see him sitting there just going like, I hope it be a masculine child, Devon Vito. And he's got that kind of blocky look, and he is a strong, big guy who you would want to just be that silent presence more so than just talking at you all the time, just that guy standing behind Vito. So I think it's kind of a sneaky good pick. I'll go Ferrigno for 1. I think it's not bad. But Richie?
Yeah, this is really tough. For 3 had Gunther. I don't know if I see him as like this sort of like nervous. I don't know if he can, because I haven't. Obviously he hasn't really been anything other than just wrestling. I don't know. I just can't see him like doing that nervous energy type thing. But like he definitely has the look though. I'll get into that. 2, I had Dave Bautista. I thought maybe this would be number 1 because spoiler behind the curtain. I initially picked him, and I had to.
But I sent all my picks to Caro right after I picked them, so there's proof that I sent these in early. I wasn't like stealing anybody's ideas or anything. That's I always do that for at least one person on the panel. So I'm not stealing anything.
Yeah. So yeah, but I can definitely see him. I think he's, like we've said before, I think he's the best wrestler turned actor that we've had, and I think he would fit the role well. But yeah, like I know you were nervous, but when you pitched Lou Ferrigno, but I think he's perfect for the role. I can definitely see it. So yeah, I'm not one to Lou Ferrigno.
All right, well, Malcolm, what you say?
Yeah, at number 3, I've got Carrying Cross. So Richie, I just don't see it. Fun fact, I was almost going to pick Batista, but I thought, no, somebody else is going to go that route. But I've got him at 2. But at number 1, I've got Lou Ferrigno. It's like I do very inspired.
Yeah. There you go, Jonathan. You got Lou Ferrigno as Luca Brasi. Clean sweep. Nicely done.
I never thought I would be the winner for this.
Yeah. Hey. I like that this is kind of evening out. Everybody's got picks so far that are solid. So there you go.
I'm actually curious of what Jordan is going to rank.
I think he had Batista probably because of familiarity more than anything, and maybe Ferrigno. So yeah, but that's fine. Again, Batista's very familiar actors. I think most people have seen stuff with him, so I understand that. All right,
so we all went Professor Wishes,
yeah, right. Essentially, so there we go. All right, let's get up a little bit more. Let's go to another memorable character. Doesn't have a ton of screen time, but he's very important to the plot because he's one of the people that Michael kills in the Italian restaurant, and he's kind of the corrupt cop. Let's talk about Captain McCluskey, played by Sterling Hayden. Very, very brash by Sterling Hayden. And I'll give you a little reminder of Captain McCluskey. And pardon this clip, it's got like subtitles, like that TikTok subtitles on the screen kind of thing. But it's all like I wanted to get this scene in particular to kind of give it a rank. So here you go.
I thought I got all you guinea hoods locked up. What the hell are you doing here?
What happened to the men who were guarding my father, Captain?
Why, you little punk. What the hell are you doing telling me my business? I pulled them guys off of here, eh? Now you get out of here and stay away from this hospital.
I'm not moving until you put some guards around my father's room.
Phil, take him in.
Kid's clean, Captain. He's a war hero. He's never been...
God damn it, I said take him in.
What's the Turk paying you to set up my father, Captain?
Take a hold of him. Stand him up. Stand him up straight.
All right, there you go. And then he gets a nice suck in the jaw for his trouble there, does Michael. They kind of that old grizzled, sort of Brooklyn captain there, played by, again, brilliantly by Sterling Hayden. Again, he doesn't have a ton of screen time, but he makes the most of it when he does, and he's important to the plot there. We'll go around the horn and see who everybody picked for Captain McCluskey. So I guess on me first. Again, I got a guy who's kind of started out as a character actor who's blown up more over the years, but again, I think fits nicely into an ensemble and can steal the show, even with a little bit of screen time, as he does like Revolutionary Road and a bunch of movies. So I went with Michael Shannon. I think Michael Shannon's got that look. He's got that kind of square jaw. You buy him as like he's been around the block, as a police captain. He's got that commanding presence, General Zod kind of thing. You could see him just like dressing down young punks and dressing down Michael, and then later on just kind of playing it kind of casual, making those brash comments and whatnot. So Michael Shannon, I think just could have this down pretty good. So I'll go Michael Shannon for my pick of McCluskey. So Richie, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, my pick, myself, probably going to be very similar to Michael Shannon pick, but my pick for McCluskey is Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I think he also has that grizzled sort of charm with like the dark edge about him. I think this dude that's it doesn't
Who's that?
That's a fire alarm, isn't it? Something like that.
Oh my gosh! Somebody got a fire? Yeah.
I hope not.
Hello. No, that's
Must be Malcolm.
All right. Go ahead, Richie. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he's got like just this grizzled edge to him. I think he's kind of doesn't suffer fools, and he exudes like power, gravitas, and authority you need for the role. And yeah, I think even if it's a limited role, I think he will make the most of it and elevate his limited role. And I think he's just got that that type of the type of. I think he just fits the type of energy that you need for the character. And by the way, I think what the thing that was alarm. I think it was just birds. It was just pretty birds outside my window.
Oh, jeez. He's got those asshole magpies there, Caro. Magpie birds that hang around in Australia. All right, so Richie chose Jeffrey Dean Morgan for his pick for Captain McCluskey.
I see food.
Yeah, Malcolm, what you got besides food?
Food.
For me, for Captain McCluskey, I picked someone who I know does good with when it comes to the drama type roles. Lately, he's more known as a comedic actor, but I went Vince Vaughn. Because it's one of those ones like I think when he wants to, he can do like really serious roles. And I think he could potentially do justice for Captain McCluskey.
Okay, so Malcolm picks Vince Vaughn for Captain McCluskey. Jonathan, what you got?
This may be the toughest round to rank, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went with a tall presence, a tall, underrated, menacing gravitas, and when you see him, you could tell like what kind of sinister voice he's going to provide for the role. I mean, he's very slimy and corrupt, and he's played these corrupt bad guys. I think one kind of sinister cop from another movie in the early 2000s, and I picked Powers Booth. Yeah, Powers Booth. Yeah, you could see him just getting up from the dark shadows at night from his cop car with his his police hat and his uniform, and it's basically like a Bane-like figure to Michael Corleone as he's about to slap him in the jaw very very hard. And but also you could see a little sinister how would I say it? Sinister charm when he meets Michael again later in the movie with Sollozzo. And once you see Michael sit with Sollozzo and McCluskey, feels like he's in a corner, but that Michael's got it under control. And I think Powers Booth really conveys that slimy, corrupt vibe there. So Powers Booth.
Okay. All right, so recapping the picture real quick. We've got Michael Shannon for me. Richie's got Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Malcolm chose Vince Vaughn. And Jonathan chose Powers Booth. Yeah, really tough round here. I like all these actors a lot. Yeah, this is actually probably the toughest one so far. As far as me, this is a tough one because I think each of these actors kind of can bring a unique energy to it and kind of a different vibe. Yeah, these are all kind of different where they would all stand out. I'll go Jeffrey Dean Morgan for number 3 only because everything I've seen him in, he kind of has like a sarcastic smirk on his face while he's saying it, and I don't really see Sterling Hayden doing that, almost like in a jokey kind of way. And I know that's just what he's been doing the last 10 years or so since The Walking Dead, but so I just get that vibe from him sometimes. I'll go Vince Vaughn number 2 because I do think he's kind of broken out. You see stuff like Hacksaw Ridge and whatnot, and like he has, he can play a little bit different, and I wouldn't mind seeing him doing more dramatic stuff. But I've always been a big fan of Powers Booth, like Frailty and things like that. He's got that, that sly kind of corrupt nature to him, and he's kind of up to no good. He shows up a police captain, you're like, that guy's definitely corrupt. that guy is up to no good. I don't trust that guy at all. So I never trust Powers Booth. So I'll go with that. Richie.
Number 3, I went with Powers Booth. I do like Powers Booth. He if he does exemplify the archetype of a corrupt cop, like, you know, I feel like he's almost typecast. But yeah, I just haven't seen him as much, so it's just what, like, yeah, like, so, and I don't have as much of a reference point as the other two. My number two, I'm still talking about. I'm went with Vince Vaughn. I think, yeah, Vince Vaughn. You know, like, I'm glad he's sort of doing more dramatic roles, but because, yeah, he does have this very intimidating presence, especially with his when he actually gets to use his like large frame. Like, yeah, the dude's a giant guy, and like, yeah, he is very intimidating, and I could see him, like, sort of, you know, I could see him, yeah, kind of in that role. Yeah, but number one, I went with Michael Shannon. I think, yeah, like I think the dude is sort of made for the role. I think I think he'd be great. Just yeah, like, he's played similar roles before. Just that, yeah, like the no nonsense, you know, like, but the take no shit, but also, yeah, you know, I just think I think he would, yeah, sort of chew this role up. So, yeah, I'm going Michael Shannon, but this was definitely difficult. I was going back and forth on all of them.
Yeah, no, it's a tough round. These are all good picks. But Malcolm, what you
got? For number 3, I went Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I just don't quite see it. But he's still a good pick, though. For number 2, I went Powers Booth, and number 1, I went Michael Shannon.
Okay. Jonathan.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to be very nice to y'all. I'm going to do, at 1.3, I picked Vince Vaughn, because Vaughn, I could see that nature, that sinister nature in him. But I want to see more from him, you know, play more of these slimy bad guys. I'm not as convinced. I know he's played a few of them in his past, in the, like, the terrible domestic disturbance, and a few others. Like, he's not like the bad guy in it, but that Cell Block movie, Cell Block 99, and also the True Detective season 2.
Dragged Across Concrete.
What?
Was it Dragged Across Concrete as well? Was he a bad guy? I don't remember.
I don't remember if he was a bad guy because I haven't seen it. So. 1.2, Jeffrey D. Morgan. Yes, I could see him play that menacing vibe, but also, like Austin said, that I think he'd be a little too sarcastic for my taste as McCluskey. And as McCluskey, I didn't see any sarcasm at all, except for like 1 or 2 statements in the restaurant.
The only one statement I saw is when he sits down at the restaurant and goes, "How's the Italian food in here?" And that's about it. Yeah,
exactly.
Just trying to make a bad joke. Yeah,
exactly. And yeah, I think he would just smile a lot when he's playing McCluskey, and that will be a little distracting. And Michael Shannon, 1.1, Michael Shannon, and yeah. That's an actor, when you see him play his characters, you could tell that you cannot trust his character at all, even if he has a good judgment, you know, alongside him, like Take Shelter. And but Michael Shannon, that's a really good pick. And yeah, that's what I got. Yeah, these are all great picks.
Yeah. All right. So Michael Shannon is what we go with here with my pick. But again, yeah, these are all good picks, and it's good stuff so far. I'm enjoying this, enjoying the discussion. So let's scoot out again a little bit further up the row here. And let's go with one of our main kind of antagonists of the movie, at least for kind of the first part of it, until he gets mugged off at the restaurant with McCluskey. It's kind of why I paired them together, because they both exit the movie about the same time. But let's go with Sollozzo, played by a great character actor, Al Lettieri. Yeah, he's in a bunch of movies back in the 70s. If you go back, he pops up all over the place. But yeah, a little Sollozzo. And I've got a quick little clip of him down here. And again, kind of a same, like, sort of a TikTok-y kind of clip. Pardon the blocky nature of it, but it's a back and forth he has with Tom. So here we go.
And I want you to help me. Yeah, we got him outside his office just about an hour after we picked you up. Drink it. So now it's up to you to make the peace between me and Sonny. Sonny was hot for my deal, wasn't he? And you knew it was the right thing to do.
Sonny will come after you with everything he's got.
That'll be his first reaction, sure. That's why you gotta talk some sense to him. The Tattaglia family is behind me with all their people. The other New York families will go along with anything that'll prevent a full-scale war. Let's face it, Tom, I'm all due respect. The Don, rest in peace, was slipping.
The Don was slipping. All right, the Don was slipping. All right, so yeah, let's talk a little. Let's say a little Salazzo, played by Al Lettieri, and yeah, let's go around. So I believe we're back around to Richie on this one to kick us off.
Yes. So yeah, I remember the guy who's like, no, I don't know if he's like definitely a household name, but when he's on screen, I think he's definitely captivating. I went with Edgar Ramirez. I think Edgar, like he has shown that he has sort of knack for taking on like sort of multifaceted roles. If you ever watch, there's like a miniseries like I think 2010 called Carlos, which he sort of he sort of betrays a sort of like like anti-hero type character, but also and he's he's charming, but also very quite menacing, and I think he carries that with his other roles as well. Especially, while I'm not saying by any means it's good, but like he's in the he's Bodie in the Point Break remake, but he's not the problem in the movie. He's I think he balances the charm and sort of evil pretty well, and I think he's got that charisma, that on-screen charisma, that gravitas that you need to carry such a role. So. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Edgar Ramirez.
So what you going with Edgar Ramirez? Malcolm. Your mic's off, buddy. You're muted. So.
Yeah, for me, I also I went with Oscar Isaac. Like, he's one of these guys that has done a lot of like multifaceted roles as well, like especially in Moonlight, where he's playing many different sides and that. But I think like in what I've seen of him, he's sort of shown me that he can do like many different things. And yeah, so I think he could do a good job as Slot. So
okay, Oscar Isaac there, Jonathan.
Yeah, so Salazzo is a manipulative, cunning personality, and I needed an actor who can portray those vibes very well. And I'm going to bring up an actor that's already been brought up tonight, actually, and this is the one I chose for Salazzo, Giancarlo Esposito. This is the one I chose for him because he could carry that charm very, very well with Breaking Bad and also with other roles from very movies, and then you can have a little fun with his character a little bit, but also he could portray manipulation very, very well, and I could see that from Esposito, especially when he's trying to get Tom Hagen to convince Sonny to communicate with Salazzo, but unfortunately Salazzo gets the lower hand, so to speak. But yeah, that's who I went with, Esposito as Salazzo.
Salazzo, all right. So Giancarlo Esposito there for Salazzo. Yeah, and as far as mine, I went with the guy who not only I think kind of has a look for it, but I think again has that presence of a guy who's been around the block, who's kind of like this, he's been running his own family for a while and he's ready to make his move and playing chess behind the scenes. I went with Benicio del Toro. I think Benicio del Toro. So if you look at something like Sicario, where he's kind of got that thing where he's very kind of soft spoken and just working things out, but can turn on that anger, when he needs to later in the movie, when he, those scenes where he finds out that Don wasn't assassinated, you get frustrated, you better hope he makes a deal, for your own sake, he could turn that on, but also be that guy who's like kind of reasoning with you from across the table. I mean, look at that table scene at the end of Sicario where he's kind of talking to that guy when what he's going to get, but they're still kind of talking things out a little bit. He's just got that presence, where he just kind of he's got that slight menace to him, where he's kind of planning things out in his head. So, and he can do the kind of tilt thing. I think that Al Materi does, in his thing where he's kind of got that slight tilt, while he's talking. Benicio does that a lot. So, I went with Del Toro here for that one. Recount picks got Edgar Ramirez for Richie. We've got Oscar Isaac for Malcolm, Giancarlo Esposito, and my pick of Benicio Del Toro. All right, so Richie is up first.
I was hoping you wouldn't say me. This is fun. Because all three of these, I was actually considering another. Okay, number three, I'll go Benicio, purely just for the reason maybe these other two I could see inhabit the role more. There's no slight on Benicio. I also could see him inhabit the role. It's just very difficult. Number two, I will go Oscar Isaac. I think he's great. I think I just think Giancarlo Esposito definitely fits the character a bit more, and as maybe it's the thing where I couldn't get it as the character I wanted, so I want him in the movie at some point. So I'll go Giancarlo Esposito.
All right, Malcolm. Yes, you're muted again, buddy.
I know you're enjoying your food, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
At 3, I went Giancarlo Esposito. At 2, I went Edgar Ramirez, and then number 1, I went Benicio Del Toro.
Okay, Jonathan.
Yeah, this is very tricky because they could play different variations of Sollozzo, and boy, 3, I went with Del Toro because Del Toro, I sense so much of Sicario vibes from Sollozzo, and boy, I see more menace than manipulation, and he's more like intimidation than manipulation. Like I don't see him like trying to convince someone to join another side. I see him just getting intimidated and being scared. So yeah, I think he's just too much of a Sicario vibe for me. 2, I went Edgar Ramirez. Good sneaky pick. I like that pick. But boy, I need to see a little more from him. I mean, he's been struggling with picking bad projects lately, like Emilia Perez, and he's just too much of a shadow, too much of it in the background. So I need to see more from him. And Oscar Isaac, not a bad pick. I like that pick. Oscar Isaac is a very good pick. I could see him conveying that manipulation very well, like a businessman, like his character from A Most Violent Year, even though he's more of the protagonist there. But here I could see him play that kind of character as an antagonist. So, I put Oscar Isaac number 1.
Okay. And I have Oscar Isaac at number 3, only because I think he embodies a different character in this movie, as we'll get to, more than Sollozzo. I don't see him as like the seasoned guy who's like been running another family for a while. I don't see that, not yet. I think he's still got kind of a young vibe to him, even now. So I just don't see that. Edgar Ramirez, I'll go number 2 because I only really know him from like the Point Break remake and the little bit of Emilia Perez I saw before I tapped out on the movie. So it was just like a little bit. I only made it halfway through and I tapped out. So I haven't seen a ton of him. I don't watch a lot of TV, so I'm not a TV guy. But Esposito, I think, for this role, way more than Tessio, I would see it as like, the guy who you could buy as like has been running a family for a while, who's making moves behind the scenes. Who could sit down and kind of talk things out and really make the most of his screen time. So I went with Esposito for my number 1 as far as that goes.
Sorry, another behind the scenes. I had to shift my pick of Oscar Isaac. So yes, I had Oscar Isaac at some point. And
okay.
There you go.
We may talk about him later. So Oscar Isaac has 6 points here. Edgar Ramirez also has 6 points. We got 7 points for Del Toro, 5 points for Del Toro and 7 points for Esposito. So Esposito gets that one. So there you go.
Yeah, that was my slam dunk pick right there.
I hope so.
Really, that was my confident pick there.
Yeah, there you go. So Esposito for our new Salazzo is what it is. So scooting up a little bit here more, let's go to the other sort of enforcer for the family, the one that has maybe a little more to do in the movie. Let's talk Clemenza, played originally by Richard Castellano there. And let's get a quick little scene of him and Michael talking about the assassination.
It's as cold as they come. Impossible to trace, so you don't worry about prints, Mike. I put a special tape on the trigger and a butt. Here, try it. What's the matter, the trigger too tight?
I don't know, my ears.
Yeah, I left it noisy. That way it scares any pain in the ass innocent bystanders away. All right, you shot them both. Now what do?
Sit down, finish my dinner.
Come on, kid, don't fool around. Just let your hands drop to your side and let the gun slip out. Everybody will still think you got it. They're gonna be staring at your face, Mike. So walk out of the place real fast, but you don't run. Don't look nobody directly in the eye, but you don't look away either. Hey, they're gonna be scared stiff of you, believe me, so don't worry about nothing.
Don't worry about nothing. The great Mr. Castellano as Clemenza there. Let's see who we've got for our choices for Clemenza. And I believe it's on Malcolm this time, I believe so. So yeah, what you got, Malcolm? And
You're muted again.
Back on, brother.
This one, I'm just not overly confident on it anymore, but it's another one that was like, you know what, I'll throw this out there, see what happens. I went Paul Walter Hauser. I think he's been one of these people who's branching out to a lot of various different roles and that, and I think he could pull it off if he wanted to. So yeah, see what happens here.
Okay, all right, Paul Walter Hauser for Malcolm. Jonathan, what you got?
Yeah, Clemenza is one of the trickier characters to recast because even though he's a jovial personality who can cook and dance and thrive with his family and also Vito's family, he's also a soldier and a right-hand man to Vito, and he can respect very well throughout his years. So you want someone with experience and someone with trust. And I think he can convey both of that. And I picked Vincent D'Onofrio as Clemenza. I mean, Clemenza, I could see him, mentoring Michael in his mission to kill off Salazzo and McCluskey. But also, I could see that personality, that charming personality, as he conveys in other movies from his previous roles in the 90s and 2000s and whatever. I mean, even the future roles like Magnificent Seven. But also, he needs to be a wild card, in the later part of the movie where he's like, can you trust him or can you not trust him? As he's trying to be forgiving enough to make you trust him. So he needs to be kind of a wild card as well. So I picked Vincent D'Onofrio and as Clemenza.
Okay, so Vincent D'Onofrio again, circa 2000s. I kind of went with like a Law and Order pick, so for yeah. So it's around that time. So there you go. I went with another actor who I think could work in that kind of family vibe, but could have be thinking behind the scenes and could have a lot of knowledge, but again, is a good actor when he actually does some serious stuff now and then. I went with Jon Favreau. I think Jon Favreau kind of has that vibe where he could be like that family guy, dancing at the party, kind of joking here and there. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. Say I love you. He could be that guy, but also have that kind of quiet presence to him. If he was, you look at stuff like The Wolf of Wall Street or Chef, or like when he actually like tones it down a little bit and kind of goes one-on-one with a lot of these actors, he could square off with the best in the business. We only really see him lately just kind of, he's been doing more directing, just playing the Happy Hogan stuff. But even Happy Hogan, he has that vibe with Robert Downey Jr., we're like they're buddies, but he has his back, like when he needs to, and can be a little tough when he kind of needs to try to be tough. So, but yeah, yeah, and I also think you need a guy that's a little pudgy. Clemenza is not the most in shape guy in the world as well. He's a hitman, but he uses more of his brains than his brawn to get things done. So yeah, I just went with somebody that stood up to me. I'll go Jon Favreau here. Richie?
Yeah, so I sort of went bold here because I'm not like going sort of more pudgy. I'm sort of going for like someone who's sort of, you could sort of tell, he's got like, someone who's gritty, sort of grizzled again, sort of, and a guy I think has a lot more acting. Like he's very, I think he's a great actor, but maybe some of his roles don't get to showcase that. I went with Frank Grillo. I think Frank Grillo is actually, is a really good actor, and and as well as obviously the right sort of cultural background. I think he can lend obviously the toughness, but also the emotional depth of the character. If you've ever seen, he was in the MMA sort of TV show Kingdom. He's really good, and I just think he could play that sort of, that sort of that almost that the kind of right hand man, but the mentor, but also that a guy that like even though he's he might a guy you sort of don't want to get on the wrong sort of side with. So I don't know. I just think he's also just a guy that I would like to see break out in terms of like I mean people to see like that he's more than just like this sort of action dude. So I think he's he's a pretty good actor. So I don't know. I just wanted to go to a different track with this role as opposed to what Clemenza normally looks like. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right, Frank Grillo. So just recapping, we got Paul Walter Hauser for Malcolm, Vincent D'Onofrio, kind of circa the 2000s for Caro. We got Jon Favreau for me, and Frank Grillo. So there's your picks right there. We'll go to Malcolm first, since he kicked us off.
Yeah, for number 3, I went Frank Grillo. Like it's a bold pick. I just personally don't see it. And then as I speak now, I'm still flip-flopping between the other two picks because they're both really good options. Ultimately, I decided to land on Jon Favreau at 2, and then Vincent D'Onofrio as 1. But yeah.
Okay. All right, Jonathan.
Okay. Number 3, I went with Paul Walter Hauser. I think he's too young. He's way too young for this kind of knowledge and experience. I just don't see him vibing with Vito, especially in the early years. I think he would be like remotely off with the cast there. 2, not a bad pick, Frank Grillo, actually. I thought about it, what you said about it. The mentoring part, I could see that a little bit. Yeah, I do think you see more charming roles from Frank Grillo. I think he's been playing more action roles. So if he had more of those roles, then maybe I would have gone with him number 1, because that's not a bad pick. Yeah, I could see that a little bit. But boy, Jon Favreau, that's a good pick. Jon Favreau, I could see that menacing vibe again. We've been using that word a lot, menacing vibe, when he's doing his hit jobs. But also he's just a charming personality. He can cook, he can dance, and you want him to be on your good side. And I could see him as a right-hand man to Vito. So, yeah, Jon Favreau will be my number 1.
All right. Yeah, my 3rd, I'm going to go Grillo because we're casting Clemenza, not the Punisher, Richie. So that's why I'm going with that. My next, I'll go Paul Walter Hauser because, yeah, he's a little young, but I have seen a lot of range from him in the last 5-10 years. Yeah. I mean, they could age him up a little bit, and I think he could work. And, he's wrestling now. So, I mean, he's got kind of a physical nature to him a little bit. So I go with that. But, yeah, I mean, a 2000s Vincent D'Onofrio, I considered him even for another role. But then when Caro wrote this down for Clemenza, I was like, that might actually fit a little more, for what he's going with. Yeah, pre-Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio, yeah, because doing the cop thing and like criminal intent and whatnot, you could be buddies with him, but also kind of, he could turn on that intensity when he needs to. So yeah, I'd go D'Onofrio for my top. That's a good pick. Richie.
Yeah, so number 3, I got Paul Walter Hauser. Again, he's just a bit too young, and yeah, but yeah, like he is versatile. So like, yeah, like maybe they've aged him up, but yeah, to me it's just too young. So it's tough as the other two. I'm gonna go, yeah, John Favreau at 2. Um, just simply because I think Vincent D'Onofrio would yeah, I can just see him in the role more. That's pretty much it. So yeah, so John Favreau at 2, Vincent D'Onofrio 1.
Okay. So we got Grillo with 4 points, Paul Walter with House over 4 points, and a close one, but a Favreau with 8 points and 9 points for D'Onofrio. So we got a little Vincent D'Onofrio, circa 2000s, going for Clemenza here. So there we go. All right, we're about halfway there, guys. We're rolling right along here, but having fun, and we're getting into some of the really meat of the matter here. So let's finally get a female in here, other than Apollonia. So let's get the other kind of lead female.
Other than Apollonia.
I just mean other than Babylon, as far as one that has more of a kind of a meatier character, you know what I mean? A little more to do in the movie. So let's go with Kay. Talk a little Diane Keaton here, with Kay. So yeah, let's talk to Kay here for just a second, as she has a moment here with Michael.
I'm working for my father now, Kate. He's been sick. Very sick.
But you're not like him, Michael. I thought you weren't going to become a man like your father. That's what you told me.
My father's no different than any other powerful man. Any man who's responsible for other people. Like a senator or a president.
Do you know how naive you sound?
Why?
Senators and presidents don't have men killed.
Who's being naive, Kay?
Oh, she being a little naive there. Maybe so. All right. Well, yeah, let's talk Kay. Of course, originally played by Diane Keaton. And let's see who you guys got for this one. So, Jonathan, you're going to kick us off on this one.
Yeah, this is one of the harder ones to recast because there are a bevy of choices to recast Kay. Like, you have to be very careful, like, who to cast Kay as, because I see Kay as a very nice yet naive character outside the Corleone family. She's an outsider to this whole system that the Corleones have, and when she witnesses that system head on in the final scene, that was the test. Like, who can convey that little hesitation at the end of the movie where she sees Michael being the Godfather, and she doesn't know what she's into in the end. So, boy, this was tough, but I went with Rachel McAdams.
Right.
One with Rachel McAdams as Kay. She has that. Yeah, you gotta costume her up a little bit. To be
I got one with kind of a little poofier hair like that. Keaton has in that movie.
Let's do like the Notebook. Like, imagine her with the Notebook hair, basically.
Right.
But no, I could see that innocent, happier side of Kay. Like, she thinks that she's Michael's love of his life, right, from her point of view, but she doesn't know what Michael's gone through in that first movie, because Michael really lost the love of his life, Apollonia. So she doesn't know that. And it is actually kind of heartbreaking the more times I watch it from her perspective, because you see Michael and Kay kind of happy, but you don't sense Michael's happiness thriving as much compared to his life with Apollonia, his brief life with Apollonia. So yeah, I went with Rachel McAdams as Kay. This was a tough one to recast, to be honest. So
all right, so Rachel McAdams there for Jonathan. I went with somebody who gets picked a lot, but for a good reason, because I think she's shown obviously a ton of range. She's a multi-time Oscar winner now, and she's had a wide variety of roles, and I think she could just play just about anything. And I'm also thinking to the future, to Godfather Part 2 as well. But I went with Emma Stone. I think Emma Stone just, she kind of embodies just everything about a movie star here, and she could play that kind of quiet innocence, I think, in this original movie. And then even thinking ahead to a Godfather Part 2, if we went ahead with this one, the back and forth with Michael, the abortion scene and whatnot, I mean, I think she could bring it with just about anybody she's across from, and she could play the intensity. I mean, look at the wide variety of roles she's done. I mean, from Poor Things to Cruella to Zombieland to La La Land to Birdman. I mean, just everything between. She's just a heavy hitter, and you put her up against anybody in any of these scenes, in any of these movies, and I think she can just roll with it. So I know she gets picked a lot here, but for a good reason, because she's one of the A-listers of Hollywood right now. So Emma Stone. Richie?
Yeah, someone who also gets picked here quite a bit. And if you probably go back and into like the recast archive, it's probably mainly from me because I'm a huge fan, but maybe I think it's from other people too. But like, I think she'll get an Oscar at some point, and she's also in Poor Things. I went with Margaret Qualley. I think she could also sort of betray that innocence. I think she's shown, even though with her short, relatively short career in comparison, like that she's can tackle these sort of emotionally complex characters, and she's played very of sort of different characters, and yeah, she can she's sort of portrayed those characters that sort of like achieve personal growth throughout the arc of the film. So yeah, this is a very difficult role to recast, but I think I just think Mark Colley I think has the goods to pull us off. So yeah, this was tough, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right, Richie goes with Margaret Qualley. All right, Malcolm, who do you got?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those ones like I was going to take Emma Stone, but Austin I'd already thought of it. And I was almost going to make a last minute change just so it's too late now. But ultimately, I'm stuck with Emma Watson here. But it's one of those ones like I do think like Emma Watson has sort of shown like, well, she's mainly known for like Hermione and that, but I think she has shown like in her like many roles like she can do many different things, and I think like and I think this could be like one of those roles that could move it like get her noticed more, because I think like she does have the range to be able to portray honestly. So yeah.
All right, so Malcolm goes with Emma Watson. So recapping the picks, Jonathan and Rachel McAdams, kind of circa the 2000s. I went with Emma Stone. Got Richie's pick of Margaret Qualley, and Malcolm's pick of Emma Watson, all for K. So I guess we're going to Jonathan first to rank these other ones. Some good picks here. Yeah, tough one.
This is another tough one to rank, to be honest. Ooh boy. Okay, number 3. I went with Margaret Qualley. Number 3. I've seen her play a little too many sly characters, and I haven't seen like one that conveys human innocence yet, besides like the nice guys. But yeah, I need to see more of that from Margaret Qualley in future roles, because she's been playing more sly, out there personalities like The Substance and Poor Things, or not Poor Things, Kinds of Kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that those are the roles there, and I just need to see more of that quiet, reserved roles there. Boy, this is between the Emmas for me. Number 2, I went Emma Stone, and I think that I could see her play this kind of role, but I think that she's a little too big right now. She's a multi-Oscar winner for sure. She has that talent. She has that range to convey that quiet innocence. But this was, it was tough. Number 1, I went Emma Watson. Yeah, I went Emma Watson because of 2 movies that reminded me of that, and that is My Week with Marilyn and Little Women. Those are the roles that remind me of Kay Adams to a degree, and I could see that reserved, quiet innocence from the background, and I could see that hesitation at the end of the movie as well. So yeah, I questioned it at first when you said Emma Watson, but then thinking about it, I was like, actually, that's a really good pick. So Emma Watson's my number 1.
Okay. Emma Watson, I just have to go with 3rd. I'm not a big Harry Potter guy, and that's really the only stuff I know her from. Other than that, and like Beauty and the Beast, I haven't seen her a lot of range. And I know she hasn't really been doing a lot lately, so I'd like to see more from her. But again, I'm thinking more towards like both here and like if they did a part 2 with this cast. I don't know how much she could bring that intensity of the stuff that when it turns up the sequel. I'll go Margaret Qualley next because I do like her a lot. I think she could play almost anything at this point. I really want to see more from her. So I'll go with that. But yeah, I like the Rachel McAdams pick. I think she's got that quiet kind of innocence, and yeah, I've seen her do a lot of more stuff as she's coming to her own, breaking out of like those comedies of the 2000s after that. So I think she's got the chops, and I think she's really underrated as an actress. So I'll go McAdams. But Richie?
Yeah, man, this is like the annoying part of the recast where they're all kind of tough.
Really good, yeah.
Number 3, I'll go Emma Stone. I think she's versatile. I think there's just the other two kind of I've seen more sort of play the kind of the more sweet, innocent sort of type. Number two, I'll go. I'll go Rachel McAdams. I think she is underrated actress, and I think she could. Yeah, I can definitely see her sort of, pulling off the role. But yeah, I think Malcolm undersold his pick. But yeah, I think I could definitely see it work here. And definitely if it was her like foray into acting, I think it's just a great role for her. I think she portrays that sort of kind of like sort of like that sort of charming innocence that kind of innocent, like really well in her role. So yeah, I'll go and watch it.
Mm-hmm. All right, and Malcolm, round us out here.
Yeah, for number 3, I went Rachel McAdams. I do think it's a great pick. I just don't quite see it. Number 2, I went Margaret Qualley, and number 1, I went Emma Stone, just because it would be hypocritical for me to say I was going to pick Emma Stone, not vote for her number 1.
All right, fair enough. Margaret Qualley with 5 points. We've got 6 points for Rachel McAdams. We've got 6 points for Emma Stone. And Malcolm, it was your substitute pick, and you still won it with 7 points. Emma Watson takes the new one. So you substituted last minute with the Emma
That
Stone,
was a sneaky good pick.
So nice job, Malcolm. There you go.
So I'm now glad I didn't change this. If I was going to change it, I would have changed it to Mikey Madison, but I think she hasn't done enough to.
No,
I don't know if I would have been as on board. So yeah, no.
I need to see her first one. I need to see that. I haven't seen it yet.
All right. But there you go. Emma Watson takes it for Malcolm. So nicely done, Malcolm. There you go. All right. So let's scoot into kind of the core family here, the 5 of the family.
Here we go.
The brothers and whatnot, and the dad. So let's talk about Fredo first. Of course, played by the late great John Cazale.
Mm-hmm.
So the meek brother here of Fredo, and old Fredo. And this is a little bit later Fredo, but you see kind of both sides of him in the scene in Vegas here. So let's take a look at Fredo.
You think you can come to my hotel and take over? I talked to Barzini. I can make a deal with him and still keep my hotel.
Is that why you slap my brother around in public?
Oh, no, that was nothing, Mike. Now, Mo didn't mean nothing by that. Sure, he flies off the handle once in a while, but Mo and me were good friends, right, Mo, huh?
I got a business to run. I got to kick asses sometimes to make it run right. We had a little argument Freddie and I, so I had to straighten him out.
You straightened my brother out?
He was banging cocktail waitresses 2 at a time. Players couldn't get a drink at the table. What's wrong with you?
I leave for New York tomorrow. Think about a price.
Do you know who I am? I'm Mo Green. I made my bones when you were going out with cheerleaders.
Wait a minute, Mo. Mo, I got an idea. Tom, you're the consigliere. Now you can talk to the Don. You can explain.
Just a minute now. Don is semi-retired, and Mike is in charge of the family business now. If you have anything to say it to Michael.
Mike, you don't come to Las Vegas and talk to a man like Mo Green like that.
Fredo, you're my older brother, and I love you. But don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again.
Oof. Oh boy, I probably wouldn't either after I heard that. My goodness. But yes, the late great John Cazale playing Fredo there. A little bit later, Fredo with kind of Vegas Fredo a little bit. But yeah, so let's get our picks for Fredo, and I believe it's on me this time. Go first, I believe. I'm pretty confident with this pick, and I'm going to throw it out there. This is a guy that has been sliding into his own in the last couple of years. Who started out as kind of a small character actor who's really been breaking out and really showing his chops lately, who can absolutely play the innocent guy in the corner who you don't really know what he's thinking, what he's up to, and can be bigger and brash, as we see kind of Vegas-y Fredo, a little showy when he used to be stuff like Late Night with the Devil. I wanted David Dastmalchian, and I think he not only does he have the kind of look of a Fredo, if you like slicked his hair back, you could even slap a mustache on him for the sequel. But David Dastmalchian, I think, has that innocence where you kind of feel sorry for him, and he can have that kind of frail quality, but he could also, again, turn it up a little bit, later in the movie and in the sequels when he's going back and forth. And he's a hell of an actor who's really been breaking out the last couple of years. I know mostly horror, but he's done other stuff besides horror. But yeah, I mean, he's shown he could had that leading man presence with Late Night with the Devil. But yeah, all these other, even stuff like the Boogeyman, where he has like these little monologues. He's great, and you really feel for him. He's really, really good. So I'm going with David Dastmalchian here. I think he could kill this role as Fredo. Richie?
So I'm not sure how this is gonna go because mine's a bit out of the box pick. It's not like a super well known. Don't worry, Caro. He's a bit more well known in your world than Karrion Kross. So I should check your letterbox. You've seen at least one of the movies I'm going to mention. Bring up as reference. I'm going to go with Caleb Landry Jones. It doesn't really have like the proper, you wouldn't say it signifies like the appearance of him, but like he's played characters that exemplify the traits, as sort of this and that delves into like emotional complexity, like the guy that sort of plays like an outsider, or so they sort of fit in, especially like Three Billboards outside in Missouri, or like there's a really good Australian film called Nitram. If you haven't watched it, it's really good. It's based on a real life mass shooting that both Ben and Martin Bryan. But yeah, he's like chilling, but he's also like this chilling, quiet presence. And then I like when he gets riled up, like he can get riled up. He's just like, but yeah, he's just like this like really like daunting sort of presence about him. So I think he could. I think he's just another guy sort of waiting to break out, and I think this would be actually a good role for him. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Caleb Landry Jones, Malcolm. Mike?
Again.
I forgot he was Banshee in X-Men.
Yeah.
But for me, I've also been a little bit out of the box, a little bit, just because he doesn't necessarily have the look of Fredo, but he's one of those ones like he's done a lot of gangster type movies before. He definitely has done. I mean Johnny Depp, but it's one of those ones that I think he's done a lot of different things, because I think he can be quiet. But he definitely can do the whole big bombastic type speeches as well at the same time. So I think he's definitely one that is multifaceted. I'm now second guessing it as I speak, because I think he might be a little bit too old, but I'll see how it goes.
Don't second guess yourself, Malcolm. Just go for it.
Just go for it. Yeah, why not? All right, so Johnny Depp goes with Malcolm and Jonathan.
Yeah, you want to, for the first movie, yeah, he's very quiet. He's very reserved, especially during the wedding scene. You just see him just like once or twice there, once in the family photo, and then once again in the scene where he's greeting Michael and Kay, just being a little shyster guy. But the Vegas scene that's the scene where I feel like we have a transition coming between his presence in part 1 and part 2, and and then he's going to be a little shouty in part 2. So I went with Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, 2000s Mark Ruffalo. Yeah. Yeah, because
that's a very good picture.
Yeah, I found this picture. I was like, he kind of was
I've
a little.
never seen that photo.
Yeah, it's a very early like magazine photo. I found him from the 2000s. So there you go. Like
Yeah.
3 or something.
Actually, damn, I could see him in part 2 with that. Anyway.
Yeah, right. He kind of looks like.
I don't know if it make him do any favors with that photo, man. But no, Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, I could see him like playing like so quiet and reserved, especially in this mid 2000s pre Avengers phase. But when he demonstrates that quiet confidence a little bit in Zodiac, you can see him riled up a little bit in Zodiac as well. And that's where he does it in a little bit in part 1, but also in part 2, where he's trying to defend himself against Michael when he betrays Michael in part 2. And yeah, I think that this is an interesting choice to recast this story. Yeah, it's an interesting pick. So yeah, Ruffalo.
All right, Mark Ruffalo. There you go. All right, just recapping a little bit. I went with David Dastmalchian. Richie goes with Caleb Landry Jones. Malcolm's pick of Johnny Depp, and Jonathan's pick of Mark Ruffalo. So there you go. All right. So as far as my rankings, I don't know, Richie. I'm not vibing with a lot of your picks tonight, but I'm sorry. Caleb Landry Jones has like a backwoods Southern vibe to him, and I just don't see him as like this Italian brother. I look at like American Made, and he's like living in the woods and just like 3 billboards. He's just like you feel like he's like the inbred brother or something. I don't see that, man. Like I appreciate you thinking about the box, and I like him as an actor. I like when he pops up, but for Fredo, I'm not vibing with this one. Not there. Johnny Depp, if you go like a younger Johnny Depp, I could see it. I'd go with that as number 2. Like you go like Donnie Brasco era, like Johnny Depp, I could kind of see it. Yeah, like mid 90s, late 90s, I could go with it. So if you were, kind of specify that, I could roll with it. It's actually not a bad pick. Go a little early Johnny Depp. Yeah, Ruffalo is a good choice, especially like 2000 Ruffalo. I'm just vibing more with Caro's picks. I think he's kind of spot on a lot of these. Yeah, Ruffalo's got that quiet energy where he's kind of just that sitting in the corner. I call it the sitting in the corner energy, which is what Fredo does a lot in these movies. Just kind of sitting thinking with his thoughts, being a little emotional. And then yeah, he can turn it up a little bit later and whatnot. I'm smart. I can see Ruffalo doing kind of a scene like that, in the sequel. So I'll go Ruffalo there. But Richie?
Yeah. Stuff. Number 3 is, I think, it's hard because if you specified, like, maybe young Johnny Depp, I wasn't sure exactly what Johnny Depp you were going for. But I'll go number 3 because I just couldn't see it. But, like, yeah, like, I can kind of maybe see it was younger. I don't know. Number 2, David Dastmalchian. Yeah, he definitely has a look, and yeah, he's definitely a character actor that he's getting up there, and I think he could definitely he could really do well in his role. Yeah, Mark Ruffalo, I think, is a spy choice, especially like the quiet energy, but then can be like sort of bombastic. I do think of like when he just loses his shit in like poor things.
Spotlight.
Yeah. So like I don't know. I think that is a pretty good choice. So yeah, I'm gonna go Mark Ruffalo.
All right, Malcolm.
Yeah, for number 3, I went Caleb Landry Jones. Sorry, Richie, but I just don't see it. At number 2, I went David Dastmalchian. Like I think he's an inspired figure. I think he could do a lot of big things. But number 1, I went Mark Ruffalo, and it's one of those ones that was extra sold just by the pictures that his show.
I killed my own thing by pulling the best picture of Mark Ruffalo.
Take off his hair right there. There you go. There's your Fredo.
I'm saying you slick back the hair. You slick that hair back, and like, yeah, that's great. Yeah,
he is Fredo. So yeah.
But David Dastmalchian hasn't done any mustache slick back. Like he's got the hair a little bit right there, but none of those are the mustache for later. So, yeah. All right, Jonathan.
Number 3. I'm sorry again, Richie. Caleb Landry Jones. Yeah, he would be out of sync with the Corleone fan.
Yeah, he's not a Corleone. I don't
see it at all.
Can I reveal something? I struggled with this pick, and I'm never going to trust ChatGPT again.
What?
ChatGPT.
So
I asked it before who would be a good Fredo, and then it came. I'm like,
All right. Okay.
See what the entity did to you, Richie? You see what it did to you?
The entity. Yeah.
Freaking entity. Anyway, Kelly Landry Joe's number 3. I think he would vibe more with his Get Out personality. He's too bullish. That's what I thought. Johnny Depp, not a bad pick. If you went with if you specify which era, yeah, Donnie Brasco, Johnny Depp, Gilbert Grape, Johnny Depp. I mean, that's really good pick. But Dallas Malchian, I thought this was a slam dunk pick. He has that meek personality. I was like, wow.
I thought it was too, but then you picked
screwed.
Ruffalo and you showed the picture.
No,
I know. I killed in my own thing with the picture. What the hell? Shit! I should have run away with this.
No, because when he sent it to Elizabeth Dallas Malchian, I was like, "Oh, we're screwed. Game over." He picked the perfect Fredo, and yeah, because he has that meek personality, and he could be boisterous. You know, he's a chameleon, and he plays chameleonic personalities very, very well in various movies, especially from Dune to Late Night with the Devil. So, and Prisoners, we see that a little bit, and. I thought Dallas Malchian was going to be the slam dunk number 1 here, but wow, I'm actually surprised by this one here.
All right, Ruffalo takes it care of my picture. All right, congratulations, Caro. Nice. All right,
Can you have me on Recast if you do Deliverance, and then I can just slide in Caleb Landry Jones in there.
Caleb Landry Jones and Deliverance, yeah, I would buy. Sure, absolutely.
I would buy him as not Ronnie Cox. I think that's the 4th one, right? The 4th guy. You have Burt Reynolds, John Voight.
Oh yeah,
Ed Beatty,
guys. I don't know.
Ronnie
Yeah,
Cox.
maybe.
Yeah,
sure. All right. All right. Let's scoot up to the kind of not biologically the brother, but you know, the adopted brother. Let's talk Tom Hagen, of course, played by a very early Robert Duvall, the consigliere. Let's talk about him. And this clip right here is going to serve a little bit for both Tom Hagen and Sonny, who we're going to talk about right afterwards. So this is kind of both, because it's mostly Tom and Sonny going back and forth. So this will be kind of a both of them clip. Here you go.
Manoj, hey, 100 button men on the street 24 hours a day. That Turk shows one hair on his ass, he's dead. Believe me. Hey, Michael, come here. Let me look at you. You look beautiful. It's beautiful. You're gorgeous. Hey, listen to this. The Turk, he wants to talk. You got you. Imagine the nerve on this son of a bitch, hey. Craps out last night, he wants a meeting today. What'd he say? What did he say? Ba-da-beep, ba-da-bap, ba-da-boop, ba-da-beep. He wants us to send Michael to hear the proposition. And the promise is that the deal is so good that we can't refuse, hey.
What about Bruno Tatari?
It's part of the deal. Bruno cancels out what they did to my father.
Sonny, we ought to hear what they have to say.
No more. Not this time, consigliere. No more meetings, no more discussions, no more Salazzo tricks. You give him one message, I want Salazzo. If not, it's all out war. We go to the
Some of the other families won't sit still.
They hand me Salazzo.
Your father would want to hear this. This is business, not personal.
They shot my father.
Even the shooting of your father was business, not personal, Sonny.
Well, then business will have to suffer, all right? Hey, listen, do me a favor, Tom. No more advice on how to patch things up. Just help me win, please, all right?
I found out about this Captain McCluskey who broke Mike's jaw.
What about him?
Now, he's definitely on Solazzo's payroll and for big money. See? Now, McCluskey has agreed to be the Turk's bodyguard. What you have to understand, Sonny, is that while Solazzo is being guarded like this, he is invulnerable. Now, nobody has ever gunned down a New York police captain, never. It would be disastrous. All the 5 families would come after you, Sonny. The Corleone family would be outcast. Even the old man...
Well, Corleone family would be outcast. Business, not personal, Sonny. Yeah, the great Robert Duvall, Oscar-nominated Robert Duvall for this
Oscar winner, actually.
Yeah, Oscar winner, and James Caan, Oscar MCY as well. But yeah, we're getting into the meat here. So let's talk a little Tom Hagen, and we are going to, I believe, Richie for this one. So give us your pick for Tom.
Yeah, I think Tom Hagen's a guy who kind of his performance, he portrays like strength just from like restraint, like true subtlety, right? And like you need someone who's but he's also also the kind of the voice of reason, and but also has a really physical presence. So I did fit a guy that's more akin to that family than Kendall Henry Jones, and a guy that is more. I pick a lot. I mean, he also comes up a lot in the show, but for good reason. He's a chameleon. I'm with Adam Driver. I think Adam Driver is a fantastic actor. I think I think I could definitely see him sink the teeth in his role. I think he does subtlety really well, and just has portrayed like a wide range of characters, and I just think I could see him fitting in this role really well as the consigliere. So Adam Driver, I'm more confident with this pick.
Okay, all right, there we go. Malcolm.
Yeah, this is one that I struggled with a bit. Like, I think I switched my Sonny and Tom Hagen around many times. But I ultimately settled on Daniel Craig because I think like Daniel Craig has shown that like he's had a lot of roles where he's can be a bit shady, but he's also done those quieter roles as well. And so I think he could be an interesting one. So Daniel Craig is who I went with.
All right, Daniel Craig for Malcolm. Jonathan.
Yeah, I actually like what Richie is describing Tom Hagen. He has restraint, strength, and voice of reason. He has common sense, especially when talking to Sonny. That's why that was the scene right there. I was like watching that scene like 2 or 3 times to select my Sonny and Tom Hagen because they shout a lot a couple of times and it's memorable. And you'll see why with my Sonny in a moment. Yeah, I went with a guy that also is kind of chameleonic and is very underrated as an actor because he's mostly known right now as like the narrative guy, like for his for documentaries and also for docuseries. And I went with Liev Schreiber as Tom Hagen. Like I could see that confidence, I could see that knowledge in his legal arsenal, especially when serving that one client, his adoptive father, Vito. And also you could see that loving brotherly side in him as well, as he's also embracing Michael as well. But also, even though he's just in a shouting match with Sonny, he still loves Sonny like a brother. I mean, and also vice versa as well. So that's what I went with, Liev Schreiber.
Liev Schreiber. All right, so there you go. Liev Schreiber for Jonathan. And I went with a guy who I think is trying to make a bit of a comeback right now, and I think he's doing a good job because he had a bit of a slump there just with the movies he was choosing. But he started out really great with a lot of really good roles. He's another guy I think could have an Oscar someday. I went with Michael Fassbender. I think Michael Fassbender for this role, he could definitely be that like stoic, reserved kind of voice of reason. You look at even something recently like Black Bag. That's kind of what he's doing. He's just piecing a lot of things in his head. And he's just kind of got that calm demeanor who could just reason things out. But again, he could turn up the intensity when he needs to. Look at Steve Jobs when he's going back and forth with like Seth Rogen or whoever he's going back and forth in that movie, just the arguments back and forth, but knowing he's in the right or, knowing he's the guy who's correct in his nature. Inglourious Bastards, he's very reserved, the scenes in the bar where he's just sitting there kind of, working things out and strategizing. Fassbender, I think, just has that he's not only got that look of like a guy who's been around the block and could be that kind of lawyery almost look as well. You can see him in the early scene with the Hollywood director just kind of sitting there taking it all in and saying what he needs to say. I think Fassbender would kill this, and then you could buy him as like, he's not Italian or he doesn't fit in with the family. That's the point. Tom isn't. He's adopted, and he could go toe to toe with anybody. I'm convinced Fassbender is going to win an Oscar someday. He's great. So I went with Fassbender. We'll recap the picks here. We got Richie's pick of Adam Driver, and these are all good picks, by the way. Daniel Craig has another really tough round. Liev Schreiber and Michael Fassbender. So a lot of good heavy hitters here.
Yeah, this is the toughest one.
Yes, these are only going to get tougher. As we get kind of in the meat of this. So Richie, do your best here. What you got?
I'll go 3 Liev Schreiber because I haven't seen it as much of him lately, but he's great. No slide against him. They're all great picks. Daniel Craig, number 2. Again, great pick. Maybe just I don't know. I maybe it's just me coming off like watching Black Bag, and then as soon as Austin mentioned the Black Bag comparison, I'm like, yeah, because Black Bag is my favorite over the year, and yeah, I can definitely see him kind of embodying that type of, the type of performance with this character. So I'll go number 1, Michael Fassbender. But man, that's difficult. I got to either flip flop either way.
Yeah, right. Malcolm.
Yeah, definitely been flip flopping a lot of between there. For 3, I went Leave Schreiber. I do think it's a good pick. I just don't see it. For number 2, I went Adam Driver. And then number 1, I went Michael Fassbender.
All right, Jonathan.
Yeah. Excuse me. Number 3, I went with Daniel Craig. I see a lot of Road to Perdition in him, and I just am afraid that he will go back to that, that deceiving personality than the Tom Hagen one. I mean, he's not an antagonist, but yeah. Adam Driver, number 2, good pick, but I see him as like part of the family, like as a Corleone, not like an adoptive member.
That's fair.
So, no, it is a good pick. But Michael Fassbender, I could see him as an outsider, as an adoptive, loving member of the family. And the Black Bag one, you sold me on that one. Yeah, the Black Bag one, I could see that exuding confidence. He could, solve the pieces of the puzzle there. Yeah, and the Black Bag one, that's a good comparison as well. Yeah, it was also one of my favorites of the year. So, Fassbender.
All right. Yeah, no, and this is tough. I'm not overly enthusiastic about a lot of these, but I could see a few here and there with some. I'll go Schreiber for their one. This one only because he gives off like a villainous nature, and I don't think like. I don't know. I don't think Tom is Tom is kind of a sweet innocent dude. I know Fassbender's played one, but he can also be a sweet innocent guy as well. But Schreiber gives off like very sinister vibes in almost everything I see. Like I just don't really see it. I would just be afraid he would turn on the family at any time.
That'd be interesting. But no.
Yeah. I'll go Craig for number 2. I do like him in especially some of his early British stuff. Your layer cakes and whatnot. But yeah, his American accent can be shaky at times. When he does attempt to do that. So yeah, him fitting in as like a New York guy. Let me see an audition. Maybe I can be sold on it. And I'll go Driver just because he is a chameleon and he is very good. And I think he could sneak his teeth in just about anything. So I'll go Driver just because he's very good and I like him a lot. So all right, we got Schreiber with 3, Craig with 5, Driver with 7, and Fassbender taking it with 9 points on that one. So there you go. All right, so there we go.
All right.
All right, so okay, now we're getting into Sonny. Yes,
Sonny.
Again, I played that clip. There's a lot of Sonny in that clip, so I just figured it serves it both. Yeah, big brash, over the top, loudmouth. Sonny there, of course, played by the late great James Caan there, another Oscar-nominated role. Great stuff there from Jimmy Caan. So yeah, and I believe Malcolm is up first on this one.
Yeah. So for my Sonny, I went Michael Fassbender.
Again, I allow him as long as if we're pitching for different roles. So I let you pitch if you want.
So if he wins, will they just be playing dual roles?
Yeah, they'll be playing dual roles. They'll be playing dual guys, different hairdos.
Shouting match.
Yeah, this is what I did flip flop a little bit. I almost before I
technically, what's that Alto Knights movie? The characters in that movie that Robert De Niro's played, they're not related. They're completely different people. They're not even like brothers. It's weird. And yet they look.
I haven't seen it yet. So
it's not a bad movie, but it's.
I'll watch it. I'll watch
it. I think. Really enough, for all the similar reasons that Pez kind of brought up about Michael Fassbender as Tom Hagen, I think still fits with Sonny. Is like you want someone who's like done a bit of like either shouting and like quiet, reserved as well. And I think Michael Fassbender can pull it off. So yeah.
All right, Jonathan.
Okay, so This is the one that I think this was my most difficult recasting, Sonny, because you need that brash, tall personality. You need that, but also he's a loving brother. He's a loving brother to Connie. Unfortunately, she didn't make it, but he protects his siblings. You know, he protects Michael, he protects Connie, and he protects Tom to a degree because he loves his family in the end. Although he's going to be he was going to be a terrible mob boss. And look, he's Italian, so hey, Nicolas Cage as Sonny. That's what I went with. Nicolas Cage as Sonny. Because I could look, 2000s Nicolas Cage, he has some very good dramatic roles, like The Family Man. Like The Family Man, like you could see that loving personality, and then he could just be a little funny in some scenes, like the wedding scene, like with Vito just looking at Sonny just entering his office, saying, what did he say? Like, you spend time with your family? That's good. A man could not be a real man if he doesn't spend time with his family. And then, you know, Sonny is kind of ashamed. Vito knows what Sonny's up to. So yeah, Cage could be that sneaky person that loves his family but cheats with somebody else. And he has that brash personality. You could see him shouting a lot against Tom Hagen. Cage for sure. So Nicolas Cage as Sonny. And also, come on, his death scene. Come on.
Watching Nick Cage get pumped full of about 100 bullets. Oh, not the bullets! Not the bullets! There you go. All right, so I went with somebody who definitely exudes like big, brash, older brother energy. And he's a real guy who's really from Jersey. So, like, you can see him playing this kind of Jersey, New Yorkie, kind of like asshole brother, but also in that kind of loving, like, he's old and he's loud, but he's my brother and I love him. I went Bobby Cannavale. I think Bobby Cannavale absolutely has this energy 1000%. If you see him in anything he's in, there's what we call Ezra recently, where he's playing like a dad and he can fly off the hinges in any second. You know, he has like that anger management problem, but you know, he makes decisions on the fly, but he could be like that guy that you love, but maybe he goes overboard sometimes. But yeah, he's just got that big kind of like Jersey, New York kind of energy to him, and yeah, he's really expanded himself as an actor. He's in like Motherless Brooklyn, he's in The Irishman. You know, he's been doing a lot of TV lately as well. He's kind of all over the place right now, but I think he's really coming to his own as an actor. But I just think he has this energy, man. Like Bobby Cannavale just exudes something like a Sonny. I mean, even in that picture, like you can see it. So I want Bobby Cannavale. Richie?
It also kind of looks like Andy Garcia a little bit.
Yeah. A little bit, yeah.
What's his name in part 3?
Vincent.
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 I went with my casting a bit younger, but I thought it'd be interesting. A guy who's played sort of the impulsive sort of characters, the brash characters, but you know, at the end of the day, they're loyal. But you know, while they're they can be an asshole. You can that they do have that big brother energy. I went with Miles Teller. Because I thought it would be kind of fun to cast someone from like who's been in The Offer, I think he's sort of like he shows in Whiplash that intensity, that impulsivity, even in like just we need to bring up in this context, but like 21 and Over, he's like that big sort of loud, like kind of big brother lead in energy that I think personifies Sonny. Same with like if you've ever seen The Brave, I think he's got that, and War Dogs, he's got that kind of brash style where it's a sort of a questionable moral compass as well. But yeah, like that sort of bravado, charisma about him. I could just see it. I could see him kind of fitting this role quite well. So again, it's gonna be another tough one, but I think I like my pick. So I'll say.
All right, so let's do a quick recap. So Malcolm went with the aforementioned Michael Fassbender for Sunny. We got Jonathan's pick of Nick Cage, kind of 90s Nick Cage. With my pick of Bobby Cannavale, and Richie's pick of Miles Teller. All right, so
this is wacky.
It's very wacky. All right, so I believe it's on Malcolm first this time.
For number 3, just because I'm not overly familiar with him, I went Bobby Cannavale. For number 2, I went Miles Teller, and number 1, I went Nicolas Cage.
Jonathan.
Number 3, Richie. Man, Miles Teller. I think he just brings annoying little brother vibes, not big brother vibes. I just don't see it. And maybe, boy, I would not. It would be tough to envision him as Sonny, and then it would be a tougher challenge to recast Michael in the end. Number 2, Michael Fassbender, because that's a good pick actually for Sonny. Yeah, I could see that, but I don't know if I see like the brash personality. I see more loyalty than brash. But Bobby Cannavale, I put number 1 because I see the big brother side, and also, like, we already have Michael Fassbender. That would be very awkward to recast Michael Fassbender as both of these roles here. So, yeah, Cannavale.
All right. I got to go Fassbender number 3 just because, again, I think he puts off more of a Hagen vibe than a Sonny vibe. Next, I'll go Cage next because Cage is, man, I'm afraid it like, I don't know. It would just be a different. It'd be a different movie. It'd just be a whole different movie. You'd go too cagey, almost like.
No pun intended.
James Caan like has a thing, but he's not chewing scenery. Like he's just being Jimmy Caan. Dude, if you haven't seen The Offer, it really showed me a lot for Miles Teller, and I think he's really great. And he really like. It's the first time I saw him more as like an adult on that show, like where it seemed like he turned into like the next phase of his career. And yeah, he's got a big energy to him in that, but like in a lovable way. And I actually think he's more versatile than people give him credit for. I think Miles Teller is really good. I picked him before for different things on this show. I really like him as an actor, so I'll go Teller on this one, on the top one. I like him a lot. If you've seen The Offer, I think you would roll with it. Actually, I think it's really good. So, but Richie.
Yeah, it's tough. 3, I'm gonna go Nicolas Cage. Again, I think he's too. I think he's too like off the wall there, and also I don't know. I don't know if the casting has been on the next. I don't know. I just feel like it would bring too much energy to the role, and it would kind of get distracting. Number 2, Michael Fassbender. Yeah, I don't see him as a Sonny. I think he's like it's not fit for the character. But yeah, Bobby Cannavale I think is great. That's my pick. I like Bobby Cannavale quite a bit. I think he's versatile. He can play any role. This is not related, but if you haven't. I'm one of the few people who liked Old Dads, and he was a comic relief in that movie, even though Bill Burr was in it. So he's great. So I'm gonna number 1, Bobby Cannavale.
All right, so we got 5 points for Fassbender, 6 points for Cage and Teller, and 7 points for Cannavale. So Cannavale will take this one. So there you go. All right, we got the final 2 here. All right, we're gonna go to Vito only because I know he's kind of maybe he's the poster and whatnot, but it really is Michael's movie. It's Michael's story. It's Michael's arc. Michael is kind of what the movie is kind of centered on. So I know it's called The Godfather, but Vito starts as the Godfather. Michael ends as the Godfather. So I think that's why I'm going to go Vito here, will be our penultimate pick here. Of course, played by the great Marlon Brando, the Oscar-winning Marlon Brando here. So yeah, this is going to be a tricky one. But let's take a look a little bit more back at Vito and, of course, one of his more famous moments. Here we go.
Godfather, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. You can act like a man!
What's the matter with you? Is this how you turned out a Hollywood Pinocchio that cries like a woman? What can I do? What can I do? What is that nonsense? Ridiculous. You spend time with your family?
Sure I do.
Good. Because a man who doesn't spend time with his family can never be a real man. Come here. You look terrible. I want you to eat. I want you to rest well, and a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
It's too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Of course. Yes, one of the most famous lines. Well, it's a couple of famous lines in there. You're gonna act like a man. What's the matter with you? Yeah, good stuff there from Marlon Brando. And yeah, so let's go around and start talking about it. This could be a tricky one as well, filling the shoes of Marlon Brando. But let's see what we got. So, Jonathan, I think you're going to kick us off on this one. So here we go.
All right, here we go. Okay. So you need an actor who can portray that trusting, loving personality, but also is a very he's a very keen and also ingenious yet sneaky businessman. I mean, yes, he loves his family very, very, very much, but business-wise, he makes deals with corrupt people. He makes the system. He's a very great character. So I wanted an actor that can also convey both like an elderly father age, like a loving personality, to an older personality. Obviously, makeup would have to be helping this actor here. It did help Marlon Brando because Marlon Brando was younger at the time. So I know this is going to sound familiar. I went with James Gandolfini. So
I think I'm saying Michael Foster.
No. Oh no, screw it. It's Michael Fassbender. No, James Gandolfini. Yes. So he's a sarcastic, kind of prickly character in The Sopranos as Tony. He's very sarcastic. However, he has a very loving charm, a very unpredictable charm in him in his movies as well. I mean, Get Shorty is the prime example. I mean, yes, he's a hitman, but also he has this like teddy bear quality. I mean, I think he has a kid in Get Shorty, I believe. So you want him to be a great father as well. And I think that makeup will help him. So he won't be like another Tony Soprano. He could be another Vito Corleone. He could be someone that you could trust in the end. And Gandolfini was a great actor. He can maintain that kind of confidence, whether it's good or bad, very, very, very well. So, yeah, I'm going to go Gandolfini as Vito Corleone, as the Godfather.
All right. So Gandolfini going there. I went with a guy who literally is more than used to makeup, who has played, he's the ultimate Hollywood chameleon who can play just about anybody, and who is as unrecognizable as anybody and morphs into anybody who's ever played. Gary Oldman. I think Gary Oldman is a choice that can not only carry a movie, but you could put any kind of makeup you want to put on him. He's played Harry Truman. He's played Winston Churchill. He plays Drax, a dreadlock pimp. He plays, Air Force One. He's a, Middle Eastern terrorist, Sirius Black in Harry Potter. I mean, you name it, he could do anything. I just think, like, give him whatever this character is going to be, and he will make it work. He will make it work. And I don't think you need somebody who's like initially super like physically intimidating, just somebody who could be like, give that acting intimidation, but who also can play that kind of, that grandfatherly kind of energy. He's up there in age right now, so I think it would work perfectly for what it is. But goddamn, I think just Gary Oldman can just do anything. So I just went with somebody who I think is reliable. And I just think if you casted The Godfather and you said Gary Oldman's going to play Vito, everybody would be like, Gary Oldman's the man. Yeah, sure. Make it happen. Let's see what happens. Let's see what he does. And just trust it. So I'm going Gary Oldman here. So, Richie.
Yeah, I sort of went somewhere out in terms of like a guy that's not like, has like physical intimidation, but like just acting wise. And I went with Ralph Fiennes. I think Ralph Fiennes could definitely inhabit the role. I think like, just with like, just how like menacing he is and things like The Menu, and like how just captivating he is, and like just that like how like eerily sort of he sort of the way he sort of conducts himself with just like an eerie like calmness to him, like like I think it's akin to his role in like Schindler's List, like like it's his how he sort of he wields sort of his power with like this eerie calmness, but like and cruelty, but like it's just like he's just very methodical and very intimidating. So, and I just think he again, like when he's chameleon, then he can inhabit any role, and I think he's just a presence that could be felt. So I think Ray Fiennes would be great.
All right, so Ray Fiennes for Richie, and Malcolm rounds out here.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to go compared with my pick compared to yours. So I took a bit of a swing here.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Look, I went with John Goodman. Like while he has lost a bit of weight now, but it is one of the. But I do fit like he's shown that he's done a lot of different styles, and I think he could pull off like the quiet calmness of Vito, just like bring out that sort of quiet energy that is needed, and I think he can he does do. He's also another one that is like he is more known for comedy. He's done a lot of dramas as well out there, and I think he's good when it comes to that sort of thing. So I put it for out there, see what happens.
John Goodman, yeah, okay. No, I don't think it's as bad a pick as you think it is. So we'll see what happens here. But Jonathan goes with James Gandolfini. I went with Gary Oldman. Richie's pick of Ray Fiennes, and Malcolm's pick of John Goodman. All right, so I believe Jonathan, you are first on this one. So again, could be some tough choices here. What you got?
Okay, number 3. Sorry, Austin. I went Gary Oldman. The thing is that when I thought about it more and more, I just would see Winston Churchill again, but with a mustache, and that would be a little too distracting for me. And I don't know. I think that would take away another person's range or another person's acting chops away. And I don't know. I think Oldman. I don't think he does it for me here. 2. Goodman, not a bad choice. I thought about it long and hard. The thing is, I see him as more of a great dad that you want to hang out with and you want to take some beers and do barbecue with, instead of having some great business meetings with him. But John Goodman, it's not a bad pick. And number 1, I went with Ray Fiennes. Ray Fiennes. I thought about it while you were describing his how he could bring Vito into the fold, and I could see both the loving fatherly side and the guy you could have great business with, and also a little bit of menace in him as well, and a sinister presence. And I think he could be very convincing as Vito. Yeah, you could age him up a little bit, and he is known for both loving personalities, but also like total menace, like Schindler's List and The Menu. So Ray Fiennes, number 1.
Okay. I just can't see Tony Soprano playing Vito. I think it's a completely different character. Gandolfini, everything I've seen him in, especially in the 90s and 2000s, he's always like, he's about to fly off the hinges and physically himself beat the shit out of you. And he's very scary in that way. And I've never really found him like super loving. I know he's done like quieter roles, but I just always think he's about to fly off the handle and kill you. So I don't think that's what Vito is. Vito is he's a guy. Other people will do that, but he's that's not really his personality. I just don't see Tony Gandolfini with that. Goodman's not a bad pick because I look at something like 10 Cloverfield Lane, and like he plays almost kind of the grandfatherly sweet guy, but turns into the sinister guy at the end of the movie. So I think he shows a lot of range, in movies like that. So I don't think it's that bad of a pick, Malcolm. I think it's okay for what it is. But Ray Fiennes is another guy I think like Oldman, who can play almost anything at this point. That if you cast him, I think you're almost guaranteed to get a good performance. I would put some makeup on him, put a bodysuit, whatever you do with him. And I think he could be pretty great. And I look forward to everything he does. So I'll go with Ray Fiennes, actually. Richie?
Yeah, number 3, I got Gandolfini. I think it's too Sopranos coded. I think it'd be distracted. Yeah, I don't see Tony Soprano like inhabiting the role. Number 2, I think you're underselling your picks, Malcolm. John Goodman would be, I think he'd be good. And yeah, like I was thinking of 10 Cloverfield Lane when you mentioned that. I think that's a solid pick. I do, yeah. I was actually thinking, in hindsight, maybe I should have gone with him. I was actually thinking of him for Clemenza. He'd probably do better, but maybe not. I love Gary Oldman. I think he is a chameleon. I think he would bring a lot to the role, and I think he's fantastic. So I want Gary Oldman.
All right, Melvin.
For number 3, I also went James Gandolfini. Is like, from what I've seen him in, like I don't quite see it. I've never seen The Sopranos before, so I don't have that frame of reference. And the other 2, I've kept flip flopping between them, but ultimately I went Ray Fiennes for 2, and then I went Gary Oldman for 1. But it's one of those ones like I would be fine for either of them as well. So yeah.
All right, so close. We got Gandolfini. Then we got Goodman with 6 points, Oldman with 7, and Ray Fiennes. Hey, Richie, you got one. Sneak in the last minute.
That was a very interesting pick. A very interesting pick.
All right, so you got 2 now. So hey, it's evening out here. All right.
I will say, I think all 4 of those picks are better than what GPT said for V show.
What's that?
Caleb Landry Jones.
No. I mean, I don't think ChatGPT because ChatGPT went Javier Bardem, Daniel Day-Lewis if he ever unretires, Denzel Washington, Anthony Hopkins, and Benicio del Toro.
Oh, Hopkins was
That's
not
going to be
bad.
like ChatGPT suggested Pauly Shore. That was just weird.
Hopkins is not bad.
Hopkins
is not bad, but he might be almost too old at this point. If you get like Hopkins, maybe you get like
maybe my version of the movie.
Denzel, I just think it's not like a race thing, but I think you need to have like somebody who can play Italian. Like it's
like how to explain it.
Yeah, how do you explain the rest of the family not looking like
and Daniel Day-Lewis, Daniel
Day-Lewis is Daniel Day-Lewis. So, I mean,
I'm actually shocked nobody went with Daniel Day-Lewis. So
so there you go. All right, but let's get to the top here. Let's go with Michael Corleone, of course, played by the great Al Pacino, and let's get a quick little monologue from Michael here.
Well, when Johnny was first starting out, he was signed to this personal service contract with a big band leader. And as his career got better and better, he wanted to get out of it. Now, Johnny is my father's godson. And my father went to see this band leader. And he offered him $10,000 to let Johnny go. But the band leader said no. So the next day, my father went to see him, only this time with Luca Brasi. And within an hour, he signed a release for a certified check of $1,000.
How'd he do that?
My father made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
What was that?
Luca Brasi held a gun to his head, and my father assured him that either his brains or his signature would be on the contract. That's a true story.
That's my family, Kay. That's not me.
Yeah, that's the EC of the whole trilogy.
Oh yeah, definitely. So yeah, we're talking about Al Pacino here, of course, the great Al Pacino, who the studio did not want for the role and kept trying to fire as Michael Corleone. Can you imagine they had actually gotten their way and casted Robert Redford instead? Oh my goodness, no, wrong, incorrect. So yeah, obviously Robert Redford. Yeah, let's get to Michael Corleone here. it's a tough role to choose because he goes through quite the character arc. Let's get going. So I think it's on me. I went with somebody who was brought up earlier, who I just think has the energy is more for this role than I think the one that was previously pitched. And I think not only does he have that kind of look of a guy who was like in the military and kind of a sweet dude, but who could turn more and more sinister, I think, throughout the movie and physically become somebody different. I went with Oscar Isaac for this role. I think Oscar Isaac really works for this one. He's got that sort of look right there, even with the hair and the square jaw and whatnot. But yeah, he's got that quietness to him. But then you get stuff like A Most Violent Year, Ex Machina, when he turns it up, later on in the movie, and he gets more and more intense. Even looking forward to this, to the sequels and the later stuff. I could see Oscar Isaac sitting there in the chair and looking and said, Fredo, don't you ever take sides against the family again. Like I can see him actually being intimidating when he needs to be. So I just think not only he has a look, but he has that energy, and this would be a good breakout because I think he's had a rough go, kind of post Star Wars, like finding stuff. But he's a really solid actor, and I think something like this would really benefit him. So I'll go Oscar Isaac for this role from Michael. So Richie.
Similar in a way, because a guy who I think is trying to find his feet a little bit, and a guy who I think can bring that kind of, that eerie sort of silence. So I went with Rami Malek. I think Rami Malek has that sort of eerie, that chilling silence, but he's very sort of calculated. I think he's sort of portrayed some roles in the sense of someone who's sort of an emotionally fractured person who's been dealt into this sort of dark world and is slowly kind of becoming a different person, sort of in something like Mr. Robot, or you've seen him play villain roles in the past with No Time to Die. I think he sort of just brings this sort of very it's calculated presence to this role, and I think in someone that could be molded into this, this very intimidating, crime boss. So, and I think he's a great actor who's just sort of waiting to find his the big major sort of project. So, I want to Rami Malek.
All right, Rami Malek for Richie. Malcolm.
Yeah, I was tossing up between two people for this. I'm curious if Jonathan went for the other one that I was thinking of. But ultimately, I went for Robert Downey Jr. In the book, Michael is described to have a presence that can sort of radiate danger in that, and I think Robert Downey Jr. in the roles like Tony Stark and that, I think he's got that kind of presence that he can pull it off, and he's also one of those guys that can sort of be kind of unassuming at start and then gradually turn sinister. Because I can also see him sitting in the chair later in that, and so yeah.
All right, RDJ for Malcolm and Jonathan.
Okay, so again, this is mid to late 2000s vision, and I wanted a babyish face at the time I could buy that transition from very nice, very respectful soldier and loving soldier. I mean, he loves Kay very, very much in the beginning of the movie and tells stories, anecdotes, and also he loves his family very, very much. He's very caring, and also he's worried about the circumstances of what the family's going through, like from Vito's assassination to Luca Brazzi's death there, and also when he's shocked about Sonny's death in Italy, as he's going through a lot of things in Italy. And also you see the sadness in him when he comes back to America, I think a year later, and you could see that sinister menace creeping in a little bit as he's turning angrier and angrier the more he becomes transitioning into the Dawn. See that little prowess at the end of part 1 to part 2. So I went with Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, I went with Leonardo DiCaprio because I could buy him, having that that boyish quality, that respectful quality. He respects everybody in the beginning, and then he's starting to be reserved towards others in the later half of the later half of the movie. With shutting Tom out for a little bit, and then also being quite vulnerable in some stages of the movie. I mean, he's played vulnerable characters like Revolutionary Road, Inception, and Shutter Island as well. And that's another fatherly figure who basically lost his family. But here, like, he just lost the love of his life, and he doesn't know where to go from there, being the Godfather and having a nice family with Kay. But does he really love Kay? I don't know. So, I went with Leo DiCaprio.
All right. So, recap and really pick. I've got Oscar Isaac. Richie has Rami Malek. Malcolm's pick of Robert Downey Jr. and Jonathan of Leo DiCaprio. So yeah, this is third. I can see some of these. Third, I'm going to go with RDJ just because I think he gives all this energy now of like always going for a joke, like in between everything. And Michael does not do that like at all in either of the movies. He's very serious. He barely cracks a smile. Hell, even especially in the later part one, even part two. And I know if 90s RDJ had a little more of a varied filmography, but I feel like now he's kind of settled into the Stark thing, and that's like kind of all he does, unfortunately. So I'd go with that. I do like Rami Malek. I'll go number 2. My only thing is, like, I know he played a villain in No Time to Die, but I didn't really buy him as a very sinister villain in No Time to Die. And he's just so frail. I don't know. He's just he's got that. He's just got a strange look to him as well. And do I buy him being in this family? I don't know. He's just got that look, and I do like him though. So I'm always interested to see what he's up to. I mean, I consider DiCaprio. I mean, DiCaprio. I know he gets picked a lot here, but that's because he kind of is. He's one of my favorite actors working today. But even to Jonathan's point, like his range. Even look at like 2002, a movie I love, Gangs in New York, comes out the same month as Catch Me If You Can, and they're two vastly different roles. Catch Me If You Can, he's like this boyish, character, finding his way in the world, and in the same month in Gangs in New York, he's a much more hardened immigrant, out for blood at the end of that movie against Bill the Butcher, and I think he can absolutely, do that. And Wolf of Wall Street, he's very boyish and innocent, kind of at the beginning of that movie, just this stockbroker, and then becomes this vicious madman by the end of that movie, the psychopath. So I think he's shown that he could do that pretty easily. So with that range, so I'll go DiCaprio. I know it's kind of a stereotypical pick, but DiCaprio's fucking great. Like, what are you gonna do? He's awesome. So Richie.
Yeah. For number 3, I got RDJ. I'm sort of with you. I think he's more. He definitely is more jokey, but like obviously, he's sort of like Oppenheimer. But like I see him more as like a Tom Hagen kind of character. I think he might be.
Yeah, if he cast him as like a Tom Hagen, I could kind of roll with that.
I almost.
Yeah. No, I think you have a shot with that one actually, Rob.
Yeah, shot with that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the twist between these two is kind of hard. Because Oscar Isaac, I was kind of eyeing for this role as well. But I'll go number 2, Oscar Isaac. I think he's really solid, and he's great. But again, it might be stereotypical, but Leo is just a chameleon, man. He's and he would just delve into this role quite well, and you could see. I think that the vulnerability argument is solid, and the sort of the boyish the boyish charming look. So I'm going to go Leo here.
All right, welcome.
I could see all 3 of these actors as being actors as like initially cast as she would be like, we don't want them, we want Robert Redford. But yeah, for number 3, I went Rami Malek. I just don't, from what I've seen of him, I just don't quite see it. For number 2, I went Oscar Isaac, and number 1, I went Leo DiCaprio.
All right, Jonathan.
Yeah, number 3, RDJ. I don't see it. I don't see it. Well, I just see sarcastic Tony Stark playing an Italian character. I don't see it at all. 2, Rami Malek. I buy the boyish soldier look, but I don't really. You see, yeah. Actually, my biggest problem with No Time to Die, while it's a very good movie, like Rami Malek, I think he wasn't a really terrific, memorable villain. He's just like playing a villain. He's not a villain in that movie. I don't think he's that great of a villain, and I just don't buy the transition. That's what I'm saying. And Oscar Isaac, number 1. Yeah, I could see the transition. I think that's the one key right there is the transition from the boyish looks, good-looking soldier to the vulnerable and internally angered and wounded soul that transitions from to the Godfather status, especially when the Don is very sick. So Oscar Isaac, number 1.
All right, so there we go. So with the points, DiCaprio will take this one. There you go. All right, so nicely done. So let's run down our cast. We've got everybody and kind of recap our new cast for The Godfather. Roll by roll. So for anybody who might have forgotten since we started, our new Tessio is Steve Buscemi, my pick as Tessio. Our Apollonia is Richie's pick of Maria Bakalova.
I like that
from the sequel. Yeah, I like it a lot. Our new Luca Brasi is a late era Lou Ferrigno.
I can't believe I won that one.
It works.
The non-wrestling guy.
Yes, it works. Our new Captain McCluskey is my pick of Michael Shannon. Yeah, he works there. I like it. Our new Sollozzo is the great Giancarlo Esposito as Sollozzo. Our new Clemenza is a sort of 2000s era Vincent D'Onofrio. We're going up to K, and is Malcolm still got one pick in there, even though it was a substitution. Snuck in there with a little Emma Watson. So Emma Watson taking that one. Yeah, not bad. Our new Fredo is because thanks to my picture, Mark Ruffalo.
This was the one I was like, I can't believe it.
Yeah. I thought I had the David Dastmalchian thing, and then he snuck in there with a Ruffalo due to my pictures that I picked. So there you go. Should have picked just a horrible picture of Mark Ruffalo, just a haggard, disgusting picture. Just something like
put a picture of the Hulk as Bruce Banner.
Yeah, right. As Bruce Banner, just the glasses,
as Green Monster.
Yeah, right. This smart Hulk. So our new Tom Hagen is my pick of Michael Fassbender. So there you go. Is our new Tom Hagen. Our new Sonny is my pick of Bobby Cannavale. Right there. Our new Vito going to be played by the great Ray Fiennes. Richie's picks. There you go. You got one of the top 2 roles there, Richie. So not bad. And then our new Michael Corleone is the great Leo DiCaprio. So not a bad little cast there. I'd like to see this movie. I think this movie would work quite good. So yeah, a nice little cast there. So rounding out the thing, I think Jonathan, I think you got 5 of the roles by my count, I think. So nicely done. Kind of running away with that one there, or 6.
I can't believe I got Fredo. That's the one I was like, shocked.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I believe 5. I believe I have 4. 1, 2, 2 on the back, 2 on the front. Yeah, 4. Malcolm got 1 with Emma Watson, and Richie 2 with your Maria pick and your Vito. So there you go.
Out of curiosity, because she does play a bigger part in part 2 and part 3, who would you cast as Connie? Real quick.
What, Talia Shire?
Yeah.
Because I considered it, but she just doesn't have as much of a role in this first one.
Her character arc grows.
Yeah, her character arc grows. God, Talia, she was like the new Talia Shire nowadays. I didn't really think about it, but if I'm gonna try to come up with somebody on the fly, she's got to be a little whiny.
Yeah, the first one she's a little whiny. Yeah,
she's a little whiny. Even in the second one, she's got to be a little like braggadocious and has to be kind of put in her place. I don't know. That's a good question.
Actually, it is a tough one.
Yeah. And what's ChatGPT say, Richie?
I find out.
I'll go first.
Sure. That's a tough one.
Because I also did the same thing, but
you know what? She gets a bad rap, but Dakota Johnson?
Yeah. Dakota Johnson's a good actor.
I'm throwing that out there. I don't know, maybe.
For me, like weirdly enough, like I kind of my tech GPT just gave me New Zealand actresses for something else. For something I will say earlier, but the one that came out is probably the one I'll probably go with. Thomas and Mackenzie, I think, would do it maybe.
Thomas and Mackenzie, maybe, yeah.
So here's about 5 ones that came up.
Okay.
5 options. Florence Pugh, which
of course.
Zoe Deutsch.
No.
Julia Garner.
This is a tough one.
Yeah, Maya Hawke. I just haven't seen enough of her. But yeah.
No, not yet.
And
She's a good actress. She's good.
And Margaret Qualley. Believe it or not.
Qualley's not.
I could kind of.
Qualley's not bad.
Aubrey Plaza?
Ooh, no, that's good. I like that. That's a good pick. She could do drama very, very well.
Aubrey Plaza's good, and you can see her playing the kind of, the opening scenes of the second one where she's like got all the jewels, and she, Michael's trying to like put her in her place or whatever. Yeah, Aubrey Plaza might be all right.
No, the what was that movie that came out? My Old Ass. Like that's the one that she really brought her dramatic chops in. Yeah.
And she's the best thing about Megalopolis.
Well, and Jordan, we've seen plenty of RDJ outside of MCU, but the problem is we said he'd make a better Tom Hagen than a Michael. I think, like that's what we said. Like I think he better suited for a Tom. But yeah,
Christina Ricci.
Not bad. Yeah.
No, I really like the Aubrey Plaza pick. That's pretty good.
Aubrey Plaza, Elizabeth Olsen might not be bad.
Not bad.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a few out there. So
Plaza's really good.
But there's a few we considered casting. Mo Green. We consider Mo Green because he's got a memorable, not a lot of screen time, but a memorable, part there. We consider like Connie and Carlo. They both have things to do in the movie, but not a ton of screen time. They're not super essential to the plot. A few people. We could eventually. Revisit, Godfather Part 2 and recast some of the younger versions of these guys. That could be a thing we could do down the line because obviously you have the younger stuff with De Niro. You have the Frank Pentangeli. That role in the sequel is a big role. You have the what's his name? The Jewish guy.
Shoot.
Yeah. He's been dying of the same heart attack for 20 years. Why am I blanking on his name?
Yeah, I'm blanking on his name too. It's the Lee Strasberg one.
Lee Strasberg's role, yeah. It's blah blah blah. Hyman Roth. Hyman Roth. There you go. Yeah, you got Hyman Roth in there. So there's some other roles you could dig into a little bit, and you got some stuff in there. But this is a lot of fun, guys. So this is really interesting. Trying to think about if we had to recast. Obviously, we love The Godfather. We would change the thing about it. It's a perfect movie. We adore it to pieces. That's what makes these tough is that we try to tackle these ones that are almost unrecastable. But speaking of Robert Downey Jr., our next recast episode will involve recasting Robert Downey Jr. Because we're going to do a little, now that it's summer blockbuster season, we're going to attempt to recast the Avengers, essentially. So we're going to go back specifically to the 2012 film. So we're just kind of tackle sort of those primary, like 6 Avengers, plus maybe low-key, Agent Coulson, Nick Fury, that sort of thing. Just kind of those core characters. And see if we had to recast, these Avengers, including Robert Downey Jr. We need a new Tony Stark. So who would be a new
Tony Stark? Al Pacino.
We'll just flip flop it. Current Al Pacino, as Tony Stark. That'd be great. Hoo-ah! Hoo-ah! Come out, Thanos! So we'll talk about that. Maybe the Jeff Bridges part as well. We got said we could do that and round it up to 10. I think that would be
Jeff Bridges. Solid. He's in it. Avengers.
Oh, sorry, that's just Iron Man. So I was thinking Iron Man. My bad. I'm thinking Iron Man, but we'll go Avengers, and we're gonna recast that. Yeah, so who could be the new Tony Stark? Because RDJ is Tony Stark. So we'll see if somebody can throw something else out there. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, guys. So great little reintroduction to Recast there after a couple months hiatus. But we are getting back to the swing of things. We are going to be doing the Avengers here in maybe another month or so. So we'll get that going. But yeah, let's go around the horn and get some plugs and picks out there. Where can we find you guys? And thanks for being on, Jonathan. I know you're sweating it out, but we appreciate you hanging out with us, man. Thanks a lot. Anything you want to throw out there?
Well, you can find me on social media platforms. I'm going to drink a lot of water, hydrate. On social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Blue Sky, and Threads, and different variations of Caro. Instagram, I'm starting a new tournament after a week hiatus. Revenge movies in honor of Ballerina. And boy, there are a lot of revenge movies, including The Godfather. The Godfather is one. You have 2 revenge movies there. That's it. And as far as Movie Hero Network is concerned, I'll be in a few parts of the drama tournament, and I'll also be on the Father's Day episode.
The dad movies.
Dad
movie. Yeah. That's fun.
I thought it was gonna be a conflict on my schedule about that, but no, I can make it. Thank God, because that was what I was really hoping to be on. And I think that's it for now. Yeah, that's it for now. Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun, recasting one of the greatest movies of all.
Oh no, one of the great movies ever for sure. Malcolm, what you got going on your various ventures?
But yeah, just quickly, I was going to do a fun theme for this one that probably would have been harder for me to sell to you guys, because I was going to do all New Zealand actors if they did a New Zealand remake of The Godfather.
I could see like a Russell Crowe as Tom Hagen. I that wouldn't be bad. Huh?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
You know, I will say I did ask ChatGPT which New Zealand actor would be a good Don Vito. The number one pick that they put was Temuera Morrison.
That's who I was thinking of. That's who I was thinking of. Temuera Morrison as Vito. That would not be bad.
But you can find me on Tapery Productions, where I host Mankim every Sunday. Next week, Austin's going to be there. We're going to be doing about classic science fiction movies.
Yay! Pre-1970? Yeah.
Pre-1970,
nice. Yeah. There's some dad movies in there, Jonathan. Classic old school sci-fi. There's some dad movies in there.
Oh, you asked me about that earlier. Yeah, I'll on that.
Yeah.
And you can also find me on my personal channel, Malcolm's Move Media, hosting Spear from the Past. We were just on before this talking about Fastlane from 2023, and then next week we're going all the way back to 2001. We're talking about Invasion. From that year.
You got to have me for that. I'm the Invasion guy. Richie knows that. Come on, JPO knows that. You know, that's like the era I started watching. Come on, that's my era right there. I got the DVD still.
Funny enough, I literally said to Jacob at Spaz, like, I'm probably going to get Austin for that.
Oh, you got to have me on for Invasion. I still got that DVD, bro. Yeah. Oh, man, I could talk for days about the Invasion. I've seen that. I've seen that pay-per-view 1,000 times. Yeah. Oh, come on. Yeah.
And you can also find me popping up on Movie Hero Network from time to time. I'll be on tomorrow for the Battle of the Christmas tournament.
Yeah, no, we'll be talking that very soon. So I'll run some of those down. Richie, what you got going on?
Yeah, you can find me trying to calm the dog down because she barks all the time. But she's lovable, I swear.
She's just ready to go out. You've been talking Godfather for 2.5 hours. She wants to go out.
Yeah. I literally just chewed my break every talk. But yeah, I'm coming. Yes. Yeah, I know, mate. But yeah, you can find me. Yeah, we did Willow movies. We did Avengers Endgame. It was fun. Tuning in again in a couple of weeks. We'll have another installment. We will have another installment. And yeah,
I'll probably get Jordan to spin the wheel. We'll spin the wheel tomorrow night, Richie. So we'll do sooner rather than later, so we can know what we're doing next week. Yeah.
Lonely Marks. We will be back recapping Double or Nothing. Yes. You grumpy woman. We'll be recapping Double or Nothing. And yeah, break down the news there. And probably breaking down Center main event and Battleground as well. But so yeah, check that out. And yeah, I mean, yeah, Total Fight tier ranker on there as well. I'm not sure when the next one I'm on there, but I will be on there soon. And yeah, so.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, and as far as me, you can find me mostly, co-hosting or hosting things here on the Movie Hero Network, like Wheel of Movies, like Recast, and yeah, what we've got coming up just in the immediate future on the Movie Hero Network. The Battle of the Chris's is tomorrow night. So yeah, it's going to be a tournament fight of sort of the a little bit of the non-franchise stuff of the Chris's, the Hemsworth, Pratt, Pine, and Evans, and you got one of each of their kind of franchise things, but mostly sort of their non stuff. So that should be fun to talk about their other filmographies there. We got our tier ranker A movie coming up on Friday, so we're gonna go through the alphabet over the next couple of years. But yeah, all A movies. So we'll see which ones actually make the A tier of the A list of what makes the S tier. One.
I'm trying to find something called X.
Yes, there's besides X-Men movies, yeah. So we might have to combine that with another. We'll talk about that when we get there 10 years from now. And then we're starting our drama mystery series. We're going with that, and then we've got the Dad Movie Tournament, yes, right before Father's Day on the 13th. So, yeah, I think Jonathan Caro will be there for that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've got a nice rough draft of that going for the Dad movies. Caro approved of the list. I sent it to him. He nodded his head in approval. Yes, these are Dad movies for sure. And when we talking those, that should be a lot of fun. So, yeah, I'll wrap it up for there. As I said, our next recast, I don't have an exact date yet, but it'll probably be near the end of June for the Avengers from 2012. We'll be trying to recast that. So we'll get some MCU fans on here to recast the Avengers. So, all right, that'll do it for today. Hit the outro in a second. But yeah, for Jonathan, thanks for joining us. For Malcolm, for Richie, I've been your host tonight, Austin Pez Howell, and we'll see you guys next time.
That Corleone.